World cluttered with the same old stories, there's a beacon of creativity and innovation waiting to be discovered. CHTV isn't just a station, it's a journey into the hearts and minds of storytellers and dreamers. It's a canvas for the bold, the innovative, and the heartfelt. CHTV is where curiosity meets inspiration, where you're not just watching, but exploring, learning, and feeling. With the press of a button, we connect voices and visions, bringing them into the comfort of your home. Join us and let's discover something new together.
I'm Melby alongside Andrew Huitsing. We're here at the Carmel Greyhound Stadium for the Week 1 varsity football game versus Trinity. It's a beautiful Friday night out here in Carmel. The stands are packed with all the excited fans wearing their colorful leis for the tropical theme. First, let's look at some of the keys of the game tonight for Carmel. First, we're going to look at the keys of the game and being the history against the Trinity Shamrocks. Last year and the year before, Carmel fell to the Shamrocks, losing both games, but in the 2021 season, they beat Trinity 49-38 in a nail-biter win. Trinity last season set the record for 28 state titles in Kentucky, winning the state championship. Last year, sophomore Zane Johnson became the first freshman quarterback in history to lead his team to a state title in Kentucky. Trinity has won 16 of these state titles since the year of 2001. The Rocks are 28-4 in state championship games. Carmel next year will be on the road in Louisville, also during week 4 of the 2025 season. Now, let's look back at week 2 versus Westfield. Carmel had a terrific start, starting up 10-0 and having all the momentum. Unfortunately, due to a weather delay, the game was pushed back to the following day when Carmel lost their momentum and fell short to the Shamrocks, losing 17-3. It is important throughout this game we played like we did in the first half of that game. That game, Anley Conner was not 100% though, due to an ankle injury he had week 1 versus Homestead. It is key that Carmel is able to protect Conner throughout the game so he has a healthy season. Next, we're going to be looking at our next key factor of Drew Pemberton, our star running back. Week 1 versus Homestead, Pemberton rushed for a 53-yard touchdown, extending the Greyhounds lead to 34-10. He was also playing behind running back 1, Colin Johnson, who was injured this week with a groin injury. Now Pemberton is going to have to step in this week and get the ball in his hands as many times as he can. Last week versus Centerville, Pemberton had 11 carries for 100 yards, averaging 9.1 yards per carry. Not only that, last week he had 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 for 40 yards and 1 for 41 yards. On the season, Pemberton has 25 total rushes for 230 yards, averaging 8.5 yards per carry and 1 touchdown per game. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It is key to feed Pemberton the ball. He's absolutely balling out for the Greyhounds. Let's take a look at his week-to-week breakdowns. Week 1 versus Homestead, he had 10 carries, 108 yards, and 1 touchdown. week 2 versus Westfield, he only had 4 carries and 22 yards. Keep in mind, that is the Greyhounds' only loss. When Pemberton doesn't have a good game, the Greyhounds do not have a good game. As you said, week 3 versus Centerville, 11 carries, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Absolute great game. Let's see what he can continue to do with Colin Johnson being out. If I was Colin, I'd be fearing for my running back 1 spot, considering that Pemberton is fighting for that spot. Along with Pemberton, the wide receiver core is terrific, as well as Nate Williams, a great weapon for the Greyhounds, with 14 receptions, 195 yards, 14 yards per catch, and 1 touchdown per game. What do you have to say about the wide receiver core for the Greyhounds?
Yeah, we have a lot of depth on our receiver core. Talking about Jake Bellin, who has the most targets. I think he will get a lot more targets tonight in this game against Trinity. I also think that we need to find Liam Manmore. Use his height, his athleticism. If we get within that touchdown range, I think that we need to throw it up to him, let him make a play on it, use his athletic ability to go up and catch the ball over any quarterback's head. I don't know how they're going to guard him with his height. Now that we've heard all these numbers in this history with this Trinity Shamrocks team, this game is going to be an absolute dogfight to come out victorious in this game with this out-of-state rivalry. Now, let's send it over to look at some of our athletic packages around our school to see our sports dominance.
But it's only a game.
Carmel Athletics is the pursuit of excellence. It's looking for daily opportunities to work together, work hard, improve your fundamentals, work as a team, compete together, prepare together, so that when you're ready to go out for a contest, you know that you've done your part to prepare, get ready to do your best. As a result of hours and hours and days and weeks and months of that mindset being put to the test. Winning is not an action. Winning is a result.
Floyd and interest will sit. Keep the receive to the right. 21, Matthew Overmeyer to kick for your hand.
Is it dead battery?
34, Zach Boyd on the return for the Rocks. Stop by 26, Derek Fedorka for the Greyhounds. Return of 31 yards. Trinity will set up 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line.
Go with it. Go with it. Ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, welcome inside the booth here on CHTV. I'm Boudouris, joined alongside Josh Melby. We apologize for the delay, but this is a big week for the Hounds. Anybody in this town knows it's a big deal when Trinity comes to town across I-65 for this interstate rivalry. We got a 2nd and 5 here on Trinity's first drive of the game, sitting around their own 40-yard line. Ball is handed off and stopped at the line of scrimmage for a negative gain. That'll bring up 3rd down.
And a huge stop for the Greyhounds right there, tackling Jamarian Berry, only a sophomore, but last week he had 10 rushes for 76 yards, so an absolute stud of a running back. Only a sophomore, he's been going to Kentucky camps. Really a player to look out for on this Shamrocks roster.
Yeah, Trinity's got a strong offense. We see Johnson and Floyd as kind of that 1-2 punch in the pass and the rush, so we're going to see a lot of them tonight. The receiving core is a little bit dinged up for Trinity, but we're going to still see a lot of high firepower for them tonight. Pass from Johnson is caught and across the 1st down line for the first down of the game. That's Scherer with the reception.
Yeah, and Scherer only his 2nd catch of the year. The Greyhounds are going to have to put a little bit more pressure on him. Just really often soft coverage back there, maybe 10 yards off of a wide receiver on a 3rd and short right there. You have to be up.
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue for the Hounds, is getting that 3 consecutive stops, because we know that Trinity is great offensively and defensively, and so being able to stop them consecutive times is going to be a tall task for them. 1st and 10 across midfield. Johnson in the shotgun. He's in motion, passes it across the sideline. That's down for a gain of about 4 for Hagan.
Hagan, good catch right there. The Shamrocks getting into a really nice rhythm. Johnson, a little bit of movement on that one, rolls out to his right and finds Hagan pretty easily. They're starting to really just move this ball at will. They had a nice return. Started with the short field to begin with as they crossed the 50 here. You know, really just showing off their high-powered offense. They are the number 3 team in the class of 6A in Kentucky. So real strong team here in the Trinity Shamrocks.
2nd down and 5 for the Rocks. Johnson back on each side of him. Play clock under 10, hands it off. There's Floyd, and he's going to be just short of the 1st down. That brings up 3rd and about 1, maybe even just inches.
Yeah, real nice stop right there from number 37 for the Greyhounds, Chase Jarrett. He is subbing in for John Luke Getchell, as he has done for this season after a season-ending injury against Centerville. So for Chase Jarrett, the junior, to come up big, make a 2nd down stop right there, really making the most of his granted time due to John Luke's injury.
So the 2nd opportunity for this 3rd down defense for Carmel. We'll see if they can get the stop that they need. This is a little bit out of field goal range, likely for Trinity. 3rd down and 1. Snap, handoff. That's plenty for a 1st down for Trinity, but the ball gets loose. Nothing but Hounds covering it up. What a defensive stand by Carmel. Chase Jarrett picks up the ball.
What a hit from the Greyhounds. Coming in huge right there is number 24 for the Greyhounds, just making an amazing play. And Chase Jarrett scooping it up. He made the 2nd down stop, scoops up the fumble. And I mean, what a turn of event for the Greyhounds. I thought the Shamrocks were moving that ball at will, but just like that, the Greyhounds will get their share on offense, give up 0 to the Shamrocks in their first drive. Winning the turnover battle here in Carmel Stadium will be huge for the Greyhounds, and starting off with a forced fumble on the first drive, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, wide window provided by Trinity, but being able to knock the ball loose is the Carmel defense, and that early turnover is definitely going to set the mood. First pass by Coyer is complete to Williams. He's down the sideline. He's got some room to run. Green grass in front of him. He's still not going down. Breaks a couple tackles, and there he goes. around the Trinity 34-yard line. What a first play of the game for this Carmel O.
And Nate Williams, the team's leader in receiving yards and receptions and touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. You know, he is definitely the player to look out for in this Greyhounds receiving core, and there he is making a big play to start off the Greyhounds' first drive.
Yeah, the line crumbled a little bit, but we saw Coyer stay cool, calm, and collected and get that pass out, and thankfully he's got a fast man in Nate Williams who's able to pick up a whole lot of yards there on the first play of the game. So 1st and 10 already across midfield is Carmel. Pollard in now. Snap to Coyer, he hands it off. Nothing there, and that's a quick stuff by Trinity.
Yeah, nice job by the Shamrocks front right there, giving up no space for Kepler up the middle. Kepler's going to have himself a good game now that Colin Johnson is out for 8 weeks. He missed week 3 against Centerville due to an in-practice injury. Those are always the worst, and the fact that he's out for 8 weeks really forces Pemberton and Kepler to force up their production. Right there, Kepler not able to get a lot of space up the middle.
Now we talked about the depth of this Carmel running back unit is crucial for the success of this team. So even when Johnson goes out, you got some guys behind him that are going to be able to step up and hopefully get some yards on the ground for Carmel. Coyer play action. He looks back. He lets it go. Broken up, but a flag comes in, and the home fans know what that means.
Penalty marker on the line.
Yeah, real nice look right there. I got to say, I love Coyer looking deep for Liam Mann. You know, we don't see it as often as you think you would. Targeting a 6'6", 215-pound wide receiver, you'd expect Coyer to throw the deep ball to him more often. But Liam Mann only has 8 catches for 0 touchdowns on the season, so we really haven't seen that look that often. So I got to tell you what, it worked out nicely right there for the Greyhounds. Got the PI right there, and I think if Coyer looks for Liam Mann in that deep ball more often, I think it'll work well the entire season.
Yeah, they talked about it on the pre-show that they But for the moment, it's a Carmel touchdown.
It looked to me like Jake Bellin really held his man on it that outside by the near sideline towards the bottom of your screen right there. Coyer got some room up the right side, did a great job, you know, managing that traffic in the pocket, was able to roll out, but definitely going to get called back for a hold on Bellin right there by the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, excellent effort by Bellin to try to get his quarterback in the end zone, but a little too obvious when there's nobody else around you and the man in stripes is right there. So that'll push him back a little bit, but still excellent field position for the Hounds. Hoping to find the end zone first here tonight.
And, you know, Coyer showing off some mobility early. I got to say it's surprising, especially after the week 1 injury. He was in a boot all week after that. We expect him to be a little bit less mobile. But one thing Coyer is guaranteed to do is run around in that quarterback position, really escape some pressure. So, honestly, I like the look right there.
Kepler in the backfield. Coyer will pass. He's got plenty of time. Trying to scramble now. Not a whole lot in front of him, and he takes a hard hit inside the 15.
So there Coyer goes again. That time up the middle, got crunched by 2 different Shamrock defenders right there. Another great job by the Shamrocks front. really not giving up too much space on the first and the long.
Yeah, not what you really want to see from Anthony Colner. He's getting a lot of time in the pocket, but he almost self-collapses the pocket, where he's trying to run forward, get something going, but his offensive line is stagnant tonight. He just has to take advantage of it. 2nd and goal at the 12. Just over 5 minutes here to play in the first. Colner will pass again. Scrambling again, finding the end zone, and incomplete. Hounds looking for a flag, and it's there. So should be some pass interference on the defense, and an automatic first down for the Hounds.
So that one on the senior Will Ford, one of the better players for this Trinity Shamrocks defense. He is 2nd leader in total tackles with 18. He had 7 tackles last week in Trinity's loss to Center Grove, but unable to cleanly guard Nate Williams right there. I mean, it's hard for anybody to defend number 1 Nate Williams. So the Greyhounds get the best of Will Ford, one of the oldest players on this Trinity Shamrocks defense, one of the best players on this Trinity defense. Definitely a nice break right there for the Greyhounds.
Yeah, for sure. We're seeing a little bit of an offensive shakeup here as the Hounds get closer to the end zone. Few guys come in, few guys come out. We'll see what Coach Ebert's cooking up here. Looks like Shockley in the Wildcat. He'll take it himself. And Trinity read that like a book.
So Shockley in the gun right there. The wide receiver, the junior wide receiver, former defensive back playing the Wildcat position right there. The Greyhounds went to that look against Centerville last week. It actually worked out for them. I will say it was from about the 1 or 2 yard line. And it was, I don't think Centerville's defense was nearly as comparable to Trinity's defense. They were ready for that one. Must have watched their filming at Centerville because it worked nicely last week. Shockley was able to get his 1 rushing touchdown, but certainly did not work there.
Yeah, we're already seeing the strength of this Trinity rush defense. I'm not sure what the vision was on that play. 3rd and goal. Colner airs it out. End zone. Broken up, incomplete. In and out of Jake Bellin's hands. That'll bring up 4th down and goal.
Jake Bellin put in a box by the sophomore cornerback, L.A. Evans. He's at 6'2", 190 pounds, able to use his wider frame than Bellin right there to really break it up. Bellin had both hands on it. You know what they say, if you have both hands on the ball, you got to come down with it, especially in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, too many chances for Carmel there in the end zone for them to not come away with a touchdown, but we're going to see a field goal attempt here to just get the scoring going here tonight. Christian Murthy on to kick it. Chip shot range for him. Snap, hold, and it's perfect.
So Christian Murphy gets the Greyhounds on the board. They lead 3-0 with 4:21 left to go in the first quarter. Christian Murphy now 6 for 6 on field goals on the season. Definitely a stud of a kicker. The Greyhounds have had their fair share of elite kickers throughout our high school career. No, I tell you what, Caden Weaver in our sophomore year, then Plachek in our junior year, who is now really fighting for a starting position at IU after their starting kicker got a hamstring injury. And now Lucas Christian Murphy, I tell you what, he's next up. There's no saying where he may end up, but 6 for 6 on field goals after that one, and 8 of 9 on PATs on the season. He's off to a great start to the season here in week 4.
Yeah, definitely a strength for this Carmel team is that they know if they can get into field goal range, they have a lot of trust in their kicker. And so when these drives don't end up the way they want, when you can't quite get in the end zone, you have a lot of faith in your kicker's ability to put it between the uprights for a quick 3.
Yeah, and you know, they're in good hands with Matthew Obermeyer kicking. He does the kickoffs. He has quite the leg. The Greyhounds, they really produce some elite kickers all the time. Christian Murphy, I mean, he's Mr. Automatic at this point.
Yeah, for sure. So Obermeyer set to send it away here. 3-0 Hounds. 4:21 here to play in the first quarter. So that timely fumble recovery for Carmel puts them ahead here early. And Trinity's second offensive drive is up next. Kickoff fielded, he's got some room to run, makes one man miss. Brought down at his own 36-yard line. And some good field position to start for the Trinity Shamrocks.
So out come the Shamrocks. They had nice field position to start off this game. Zane Johnson, Zach Floyd, Jamarian Berry, and the rest of the Shamrocks offensive crew really looking to bounce back after the Carter Grayson forced fumble in their first drive of the game. Obviously now in a bit of a hole, trailing 3-0. You got to expect the Shamrocks to go all out here on this drive.
Yeah, if you're Carmel, it's easy to just think of last drive as resulting in a fumble, but you got to remember that for the most part of that drive, Trinity was taking the field as they wished. And so we're going to see a lot of high-powered offense still for the rest of this game, despite the early turnover. Johnson hands it off. It's some good gain there on the first play of the drive for Floyd.
Yeah, real nice blocks right there for Floyd. He was able to bring that one up the middle for about a gain of 4 yards. And I tell you what, that Greyhounds defensive line, they had pretty much everybody there, but the blocks were too strong from that Trinity offensive line.
Yeah, both teams are really strong O-lines, but we're seeing it falling a little bit flat on Carmel's side, so it's good to see that Trinity is able to step up and do their job when it comes to getting the pancakes. 2nd down and 6. Receiver in motion. He'll pitch it to him. Lynn with it. He's got some more room. Brought down just short of the first down. But an excellent move by him. That'll set up about 3rd down and inches for the Shamrocks.
So Jeremiah Lynn with the sweep play right there. He leads the team in receptions and receiving yards. He has some elite speed to him. He has 15 receptions on the season, 142 yards on the season. Clearly showing off the wheels right there. Is able to bring it just short of the sticks for the Shamrocks. Sets up a nice 3rd and 1.
Pollard comes in to replace Ojada for the 3rd down and short. Hounds expecting a rush here. Snap in. Johnson will keep it himself, and he's brought down.
Huge play right there from the Greyhounds, able to get in the backfield. A nice tackle for loss right there, coming up huge on at 3rd and 1. The sophomore quarterback, Zane Johnson, not able to get it going early when the Shamrocks needed it the most.
So Carmel's defense steps up for the 2nd time, and Trinity's going to have to send it away this possession. So a second offensive drive coming up for the Hounds, and a goose egg for Trinity here early on in the first quarter.
Making that tackle was inside linebacker junior Will Massey. That is his 2nd tackle for loss on the season, his 12th tackle on the season. Just a really good play getting in that backfield. A shoestring tackle on Zane Johnson. Forces the Shamrocks to punt, and the Greyhounds are getting going early.
Punt is skied and trickles out of bounds around the 19-yard line, so that's where the Hounds will start. It's good to see Massey getting it going here when we know that the injuries to John Luke are costly to this linebacker core. It's good to see the rest of them step up and be able to, hold their own without that leadership.
I tell you what, if Massey keeps the production up to 13 tackles on the season, 2 tackles for losses, a huge tackle right there. He has one of my favorite nicknames on this team. The fellas call him Moose. And every time he makes a big play, they put their antlers up and they go, Moose. I think it's about time the student section catches on to that, because that would be an elite chant for this Greyhounds faithful.
Yeah, you love to see it when this team loves each other. That 2-1 record already displaying that camaraderie that comes with a winning record compared to what we saw last year. First play of the drive, hand off to Pemberton. He's dragged out of bounds after a good gain.
Yeah, Andrew Pemberton getting tackled from the shoulder pad right there. Brought it up that near sideline on the bottom of your screen, is able to gain about 8 yards on that one. Pemberton, he breaks off for a lot of yards per carry. He averages 76.7 rushing yards per game. By far leads the team in that stat. He pretty much has the rest of this Carmel running back core doubled up if you combine the rest of them. Pemberton has had an elite start to this season so far.
Pemberton runs with a full head of steam. You always see it. Another handoff to him, but this time no gain for him as Trinity makes a big step up and brings him down. It'll be 3rd down and short for the Hounds.
Yeah, it's the inside linebacker senior for the Shamrocks, Jack DeBellis, getting in there. He had 5 tackles last week against Center Grove. Certainly one of the bigger names at a 6'2", 215 frame. He's just able to get up in the middle right there. Sankirith really couldn't get, or Valori couldn't get a block off right there, and forces Pemberton down. Pemberton a serious size disadvantage to DeBellis.
So an important 3rd down here for the Hounds. You don't want to go 3 and out after forcing the punt. Colner with it. He's got some space. He'll start to scramble. Defender's coming and he'll just chip it away, so that'll bring up a 4th down and a punt for the Hounds.
Yeah, Coyer working his way back in the backfield. You know, it gets really scary back there. He has no blockers, is within the 10-yard line. I got to tell you what, it might be a good decision to just throw that one away. Overall, though, Coyer, he does have a 63% completion rate on the season, so you can expect him to get some offense going earlier. So a 3-and-out certainly hurts, but in that situation right there, you're within the 10-yard line, no blockers, you got to get rid of that ball.
Yeah, not what you want to see from Anthony Coyer, but he did the right thing, avoided the interception. You saw that last night on Thursday Night Football from Tua Tagovailoa, but not from Anthony Coyer. So 4th and 3. Christian Murphy will send it away for Carmel. Snap is high, nearly blocked, but they're going to throw a flag for roughing the kicker.
A huge break for the Greyhounds right there. That's cornerback Sony Bratcher-Gray, one of the better defenders on this Trinity team. He's able to get straight to Christian Murphy, almost blocked that. I really thought he was about to, but the Greyhounds catch an amazing break, roughing the kicker right there. I mean, that is huge. Sony Bratcher-Gray right in front of Christian Murphy. If he got his hands on that, I really don't think anybody for the Greyhounds would have been able to scoop that up. The Shamrocks would have had some crazy field position.
Yeah, that's discouraging if you're Trinity. Seeing Bratcher-Gray pick up that penalty, because he's not just some special teams guy. He's a leader defensively, and so it's not what you want to see from a consistent cornerback to pick up stupid penalties like that.
Yeah, one of the only 3 players on this Shamrocks team to have an interception, so truly one of the better players on the Shamrocks, and he did a great job getting in front right there, but the roughing the kicker, I mean, huge break for the Greyhounds.
For sure. So we'll see if Coyer will choose to pass the ball a little more here. He gets a fresh set of downs at his own 30. Coyer pitches to Kepler. He can't hold on to it, bobbles it, picks it back up, and stumbles for a gain of -1.
So Kepler really struggling to get going early. He only had 23 rushing yards last week against Centerville. For the most part, it is Pemberton in the rushing game. They just need to get Kepler a little bit more involved. They need him to catch a break, but you know, on a snap right there, if they want to do a pitch to Kepler up the near sideline, he's going to have to hold on to that. You have to catch the ball before you run, and he really struggled to get that. So really, he just kind of fumbled with the ball right there and just got down as soon as he had it in his hands.
2nd down for Carmel. Coyer play action. Pocket collapses once again. Trying to just pick up some positive yards is Anthony Coyer, and he can't do it. That'll bring up 3rd down and long as the clock trickles away here in the 1st quarter.
So back-to-back negative yardage plays for the Greyhounds, not making the most of the opportunity granted to them thanks to Bratcher-Gray. Might just go 3-and-out for the 2nd time in a row. 3rd and 12. Going to be a really tough situation for the Greyhounds as they call this timeout.
So that's the end of the 1st quarter here on CHTV. Hounds clinging to a 3-0 lead. The home fans trying to send out some encouragement before the 2nd offensive drive, or really 3rd offensive drive of the game for Carmel.
Yeah, you know what? 3rd and 12. What do you expect the Greyhounds to rely on right here? Could it be Nate Williams? Could it be a handoff to Drew Pemberton? Could it be Jake Bellin? Could it be Liam Mann? I really don't think you can go wrong. You just have to kind of focus on the Trinity Shamrocks defense's weaknesses, which could be up against the secondary possibly. I think Liam Mann has a size advantage on everybody in the secondary. I'm thinking maybe a Liam Mann fade route up the far sideline could really play out nicely for the Greyhounds to start this 2nd quarter.
Yeah, obviously you'd like to see a pass play here from Coyer. 3rd down and long as teams will switch sides here with the quarter switch. But the issue right now is the offensive line not giving Coyer the time that he needs. And so as much as you want to see him air it out here on 3rd down and long, he's not having the time that he needs to get that done. And so hopefully you see a step up because this offensive line's capable of holding the ground. But so far they're failing.
So the Greyhounds leading 3-0, a lot on the line here at Carmel Stadium. This rivalry goes way back on the series. Trinity leads 5-3. It's an out-of-state rivalry at this point. You got to say, it's really impressive that you have such a good rivalry between a team from Kentucky and Indiana.
3rd and 12, Coyer airs it out. Got a man downfield, it's Bellin, and it falls between his fingers.
So the second play for Bellin, where he's had it in both of his hands and he's not able to make the completion. I have to tell you what, it's really strange to see Bellin drop these. I mean, he had 1 touchdown last week for 52 yards and 5 catches against Center Grove. He's up to 191 yards and 17 receptions on the season. Certainly one of Colner's favorite targets, but if he keeps dropping these passes that get in between his fingertips, Colner's going to be obligated to, you know, really have to start throwing it to some other options.
Yeah, definitely a discouraging start for Bellin as he takes a frustrated seat on the bench. This will send out the punt for Carmel. Pass was right on the money, but between the fingers of Bellin. Punts away just across midfield, takes a Trinity bounce, and the Hounds are able to gobble it up before it causes even more damage. So Trinity getting the start right around midfield, exactly where they want to be if they're trying to crawl back from this 3-0 deficit.
So out comes the sophomore quarterback, Zane Johnson, yet again. The first freshman quarterback in history of Kentucky 6A football to lead his team and win a state championship. He did that last year as a freshman. This year, his sophomore year, he's brought a lot of guys back with him, such as, you know, sophomore wide receiver Nation McBroom, as well as sophomore running back Jamarian Berry. Elite players for the Shamrocks team. They are just all so young. And I say that's got to be the main difference between this Greyhounds defense and the Shamrocks offense, a major age difference.
Yeah, if you go over to that Trinity sideline, you know they are very high on Johnson and his ability to lead this team and be that quarterback captain as he starts the drive with a play action and a wide open man down the sideline. That's enough for a first down and a little extra. Down the sideline he goes. Brought down just short of the end zone is Floyd.
Zach Floyd, a 52-yard gain right there. He was able to break away for an 18-yard rushing touchdown last week against Center Grove. Certainly a great option for the Shamrocks offense, showing off his big playability right there. Broke off for an 18-yard rushing touchdown, their only touchdown against Center Grove, and I thought he was about to break away for a 57-yard touchdown right there.
So at the top of the show, we talked about how Johnson and Floyd are kind of that 1-2 punch for Trinity, especially right now with some injuries in the receiving corps. So who else but those two to really get this drive going in a 1st and goal at the 5-yard line as Trinity's trying to take a lead here in the second quarter. Hand it off. Did he get enough? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Trinity.
Who else other than the sophomore running back Jamarian Berry? So there are the young fellas for that Shamrocks offense getting it going. Zane Johnson, the 52-yard completion to the junior Zach Floyd, and the sophomore running it in, Jamarian Berry. An absolute stud of a player. He's already going into this week. He had 271 rushing yards, and that is his 3rd touchdown of the year. This dude, as a sophomore, has been taking visits and camps at Kentucky as well as other SEC schools. He's the real deal. You want to talk about a 1-2 punch. Johnson has options in both Floyd and Jamarian Berry, and he utilizes both of them in that drive for the Shamrocks, taking the lead here in the second quarter.
So Berry punching it in for Trinity, and we got a ball game now. It is a, so far, tight back and forth matchup between these two teams, and that's kind of what we expected. We've seen in previous years, like you said, this rivalry dating all the way back to 2013. We've seen 8 matchups. The one in 2020 was canceled, but 8 matchups since then. And it's been a mix, honestly. You look at old box scores, and there's some years where it's a blowout, some years where we get a game that hopefully we're going to see tonight where it is a nail-biter.
Yeah, and you know what I think the Greyhounds have going for them the most in this week is the fact that the Shamrocks are coming off of a Week 3 loss to Center Grove, another team in Indiana, that one on the road for the Shamrocks. And how do you bounce back? They were the #1 team in the state of Kentucky going into that Center Grove game. You lose 24-10 against the Trojans. And how do you react to that? I think that's the Greyhounds' biggest advantage, the fact that they are coming off of a huge win against Centerville, a little bit more confidence on the Greyhound side, a little bit more rattledness from the Shamrocks. But now, towards the end of the game, I think it's just going to really be a scrap fight to win this one.
Exactly as you said, and so Trinity kicks it off, and Carmel will start another offensive drive. Touchback called by Dom Shockley.
Carmel will take over 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 20 for the Hounds. Colner comes back out for another drive, hopefully going to get some more time in the pocket.
Yeah, he's going to need to get a lot better blocks from this Carmel offensive line. You'd expect they'd be able to. After all, they are led by the 3-star IU commit left tackle Evan Parker, 6'4", 307 pounds. And you also have left guard Marco Kate. He's getting looks from Ball State. The junior kid, Clark, I'm sure he'll end up playing Division I ball, only a junior. Then you have Lincoln Yup. He has a Tryon offer, Marion offer, and Valorian Army commit. This offensive line on paper is elite, but they really struggled last drive.
First down and 10. Corner. Screen pass to Williams. He's got some room. Dragged down by the towel for a quick gain of about 6.
So Williams in that screen pass, he loves to get it right there. He had a breakaway touchdown against the Westfield Shamrocks in week 2 on a screen pass. He was able to run it in for a whole lot. Not really able to break away right there, but that's always a go-to for Colner. His #1 target in Nate Williams in that screen pass, just in the flat.
For sure. Just that first big play, trying to get out of that starting position is big for Colner. Once he can get settled in and have some more room to get creative with it, that's when he's going to strive more. Next play is a handoff to Pemberton, and he's got a first down and a lot more. Pemberton approaching midfield, and a fresh set of downs for Carmel.
So a 14-yard gain right there for Drew Pemberton. I love that play calling from Coach Hahn right there. In my opinion, possibly the 2 best weapons on this Greyhounds offense in Nate Williams on the first play, Drew Pemberton on the second play, and the Greyhounds are moving the ball at will right now. That's why I just love the back-to-back play calls from Coach Hahn right there.
Pemberton stays in the backfield. They'll give it right back to him. Picking up a few, breaking a tackle, breaking another one, and a gain of about 5. Excellent effort to stay on his feet and pick up the extra yards from Drew Pemberton.
Yeah, Pemberton, one thing about him is he is absolutely shifty. He will take a tackle. He'll have a defender right in front of him, and he'll find a way to just kind of cut to the outside, get past the defender, and just gain a few more yards than he really should. You see it right there on that play, able to scrap out a 5-yard gain when it really should have only been 1 or 2.
Second down and 5. Carmel taking their time getting set. Play clock at 10. Corner to pass. He's got time. He airs it out downfield. And he's got Shockley for a first down.
Dom Shockley looking real good so far in this game. That is his 2nd completion of the game. He had only had 1 catch last week against Centerville for a 14-yard completion, but you see Colner going to him plenty in the first half here against the Shamrocks, and you know he's really coming down with that. That's an impressive catch. Pretty good coverage right there. Shockley able to bring that one in for a nice first down up the middle.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he held on to it or not, but he was able to haul it in and get the Hounds across midfield. First and 10 at the 32. Pressure comes. Colner gets rid of it, and it's batted away by Trinity.
So that one over the outreached hands of Shockley. Not much he could have done about that one. Just outstretched. Colner in a little bit of a rush right there. Really good pressure from the Shamrocks.
Bit of a bailout by Colner, and what else can you do when you get the rush coming at you? So mature play by the junior quarterback for Carmel.
Yeah, and leading that pass rush for the Shamrocks was Keandre Thompson. He had 3 tackles last week versus Center Grove, 1 tackle for loss. On the season, he has 5 tackle for losses, so you can expect to hear his name getting towards Colner a lot.
Second and 10, Colner to pass again. He's got Bellin. And a solid gain as they approach the red zone here with less than 10 minutes here to play in the first half.
So Bellin at the top of your screen right there gets that one over Elijah Burns Crump. E.B. Crump, he has a serious size advantage on him. So really nice play right there from Colner, finding the mismatch, hitting Bellin at the top of your screen. Sets up 3rd and 3. A huge opportunity for the Greyhounds as they approach that red zone.
3rd down and 3, Shockley in motion. Colner hands it off. Kepler with it. And he's got nothing there.
I mean, Kepler off to some serious struggles. He is not one to be prone for a big gain, but boy, he has really struggled to just get any yardage on his few limited carries that he's had this game.
Yeah, he's not who you want in the ball in his hands at 3rd down and 3, so this will send out the field goal unit for Carmel.
And it's in moments like these where you just wish that Colin Johnson could have stayed healthy
For sure.
in a week 3 practice game. I mean, him being out for 8 weeks really takes a toll on a position that we had a lot of depth in the running back between Kepler, Pemberton, Johnson, and Gilmore. And now Johnson out there forces Kepler to be a little bit more productive, where he's really struggling so far.
Hounds just get the snap off on the field goal. Kick is up. It's got the leg, and it's good. So Carmel trying to claw it back now. The deficit is just 1. 8 minutes to play in the first half.
So they send out the junior kicker right there, Matthew Obermeyer. His first field goal attempt of the season. Drills that one from way downtown, gets him to 1-1 on the season. I think they sent him out there because he has a little bit more of a leg, a little bit stronger leg than Christian Murphy does. So if you need more range than you do accuracy, Matthew Obermeyer, he's a really safe bet to go to, racking number 41, Plotchek's old number. Plotchek, I guarantee, would have been sure good from that field goal. So you love to see number 41 going out there and drilling field goals again.
Yeah, for sure. The theme for this year for Carmel has been the depth. And that's definitely their biggest strength, is that when one guy can't step up, the next guy up does. And so being able to go to multiple kickers and have the ability to have that range and the accuracy from both sides of your kicking unit is vital to the success of this team.
That's uncommon to go to. It's not
sure.
uncommon to go to multiple kickers in terms of punting, kickoffs, and field goals. But if you're sending multiple different kickers out there,
When you have specialists for different types of field goals, you don't see that very often in high school football.
Extremely rare. I mean, incredible depth on this Carmel roster in the 2024 season.
7-3 the score here on CHTV. Trinity leading the Hounds here on this cool Friday night. Kick is away, it's plenty deep, and that'll be a touchback.
Trinity will take over first and 10 from the 20-yard line.
So 1st and 10 at the 24, Trinity. Johnson will come back out for another offensive drive.
Yep, so out come the Shamrocks. Scoring the touchdown for them on their last drive was Jamarian Berry. An incredible running back for the Shamrocks team. Only a sophomore, but he's an absolute handful for defenses to dissect. He had 10 rushes for just under 80 yards last week. And I mean, I'm telling you what, he's doing that every single week. So you'd expect him to be a problem all night for the Greyhounds. I do think the Greyhounds have done a nice job really taming the passing game for the Shamrocks, however, which I have to tell you I wasn't quite expecting.
1st and 10 on their own 20. Receiver in motion, they hand it off once again. Plenty of room to run for the Shamrocks. And a 1st down and more for Wilson.
Great play call right there from the Shamrocks. I tell you what, I think a lot of the Greyhounds were worried about the Jeremiah Lynn sweep again. We saw it in their last drive. He was able to gain a 1st down with it. They see Lynn in motion. I think a lot of the focus shifted to him, and they just handed off to Wilson. This is his first game back since week 1. He carried it 5 times for 28 yards in week 1. This is his first game back, and he's able to pick up a 1st down on an incredible play call from the Shamrocks.
So we've already seen all 3 backs for Trinity make some noise between Floyd, Wilson, and Berry. So that's definitely going to be something to note for Carmel as we get close to the end of the first half and into the second. Next handoff to Wilson is enough for a few yards. That'll bring up 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, and they continue to rely on the rushing game, and it's to no surprise. I do think the Greyhounds have done a great job guarding the pass options for the Shamrocks, which is not typically the case. The secondary for the Greyhounds has been a problem. It's been a question mark all season on who they're even going to send out there. But so far tonight, it's really just been all runs that have gotten the big plays for the Shamrocks.
Berry comes back in the backfield. 2nd down and 7. Play clock at 2. Johnson gets it away. Berry makes a man miss. And he's got enough just short of the 1st down, but what a play by Trinity to make something out of nothing.
Berry breaking ankles out there, not dropping number 24, Carter Grayson. He was able to force a fumble earlier this game, not able to make the tackle right there. Berry showing off some shiftiness, showing off why he's going on all of his SEC visits. I mean, that kid is going to be an absolute Division I powerhouse player one day. Only his sophomore year of high school, and he's just tearing it up for the Shamrocks offense early on in this game.
Flag comes in. It's going to be on Trinity, so that'll set him back here. What was 3rd and short is going to be 3rd and a little more. So a great break for the Hounds as they try to get this Trinity offense off the field.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm sure we could have expected another Jamarian Berry run up the middle right there, and I'm sure it would have succeeded for the Shamrocks. So a huge break right there, 5-yard penalty, 3rd and 8. That's going to be a lot more manageable for this Greyhounds defense.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the Carmel's defense being able to stop the pass has been their big strength. So forcing Trinity to have to air the ball out is going to be big for them. Johnson airs it out deep downfield. He's got a wide open man down the sideline, and a big gain for Lynn.
Jeremiah Lynn leads the team in receptions, leads the team in receiving yards.
Flag comes in after the play. Could be unsportsmanlike on the Hounds. No, it's going to be on Trinity, so they'll bring it back after the big play by Lynn.
And it looks like the Shamrocks are going to actually pull Lynn after that play. So not only do the Greyhounds catch a break, but the Shamrocks forced to substitute Lynn out after a big gain. I mean, that's huge for the Greyhounds.
It is a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, we saw Drew Cannon say something to the refs after that play. I thought the penalty was on him, but it looks like he was narking on his opponent. So first down, closer to midfield now for Trinity. Less than 6 to play in the first half. The officials trying to get everything set here. And we're ready. First and 10. He hands it off. Berry with a lot of room to run. Makes one man miss. He's got green grass in front of him. Berry stumbling into the end zone.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Shamrocks.
Jamarian Berry does it again, really giving the Greyhounds their fair share of struggles on defense. He's able to shed a couple of tackles in the secondary right there, able to force his way all the way into the end zone. A gain of over 40 yards right there for Jamarian Berry. Just an incredible run. This kid is just tearing, just lighting up the Greyhounds defense.
So Berry with both touchdowns now for Trinity, making it potentially a 14-6 lead for the Rocks as they hand the ball back off to Carmel. Extra point is good.
Yeah, I tell you what, that Jamarian Berry kid, he was another crucial key for the Shamrocks state championship team of Kentucky last year as only a freshman. It was him and Zane Johnson able to lead their offense to a state title as freshmen, not only in the state championship game, but in last year's victory in Kentucky. The Trinity Shamrocks beat Carmel 41-14, and both Johnson and Berry had themselves a huge game in that contest. You would have thought the Greyhounds, they have another year to really look at how are you going to stop. In their eyes, they have, for the most part, these defenders on the Carmel team have a 2-year advantage on both Johnson and Berry, but they are clearly still having their fair share of struggles against that 1-2 punch.
Yeah, Trinity really exercising the youth here tonight, and going back to what you said about last year's matchup, if you're Bauer or Pollard or Ojada and you're lining up on the defensive line, you get a little bit of PTSD from last year in that blowout against Trinity when you look out and you see Johnson and Floyd.
1984.
So Trinity set to kick it away. 5:46 here to play in the first half. Plenty of time for the Hounds to get something going and claw their way back and tie this ball game up. You'll be interested to see if Carmel does score a touchdown on this drive. Will they go for 2 to tie it up or go with the safe extra point and an onside kick, and Trinity recovers it? Did it have the distance? They're saying it did. That's disappointing right there. Catching the Hounds off guard is the Shamrocks. It's not. They have 5:44 to play with and tack on another touchdown in this ball game.
So a huge break for the Shamrocks right there. The Greyhounds really struggle on those, on those short kickoffs. An offside kick in the second quarter. A bold play right there from the Shamrocks. We saw against Centerville last week. Brady Knudsen, he fumbled a little short kickoff. They just can't seem, if they don't have their returners in Shockley and Williams there to return it, they're always way back for the deep kickoff. They need one of those two guys there because they seem to be about the only two players that can receive a kickoff.
So the element of surprise proves to be an extra opponent against the Hounds. First down and 10, pressure comes, and down he goes.
Eugenio Ojada making the tackle right there. That's the 3-star committed to Troy University. His 9th tackle of the season, his first tackle for loss. Really couldn't have come at a better time right there. Eugenio Ojada, his senior season, he's been looking forward to it his entire high school career. He's kind of really been backing up Caden Bauer, but when he gets in, which is quite often as a backup, he really makes the most of it, coming up with his first tackle for loss of the season right there, setting up 2nd and 18.
Yeah, Ojada was in there, but so was Will Massey, and that's also really encouraging to see him get some action. We've been talking about the linebacker unit and the need for everybody else to step up. 2nd down and 18, he finds Barry trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and he's well short. So 3rd down and long, and the Hounds defense, they're seeing red right now. They get the onside kick, goes against their team, and so they are standing on business trying to get the offense back on.
A bit of a sense of urgency from the Greyhounds defense that I did not notice at all this entire game. They look a lot more vicious, and I got to tell you what, after that Eugenio Ojada sack, they were just pumped up. They look a lot more aggressive, and it's safe to see that. I like what I'm seeing.
Sometimes when you're losing at home, it's good to play a little bit ticked off, and we're seeing that right now with the Carmel defense. 3rd down and 18. Johnson gets the snap. He'll air it out. Pressure comes. 41 tackle. Flag comes in, and it's incomplete.
Lynn not able to complete that one. Not sure it would have mattered anyways. Will this be a flag on that Trinity offensive line? I'd have to imagine.
We're expecting an offensive holding, and there it is. So Carmel's going to decline it and get the offense back on the field. 4:15 to play, and hopefully Hounds can tack on another one as we go into halftime.
So the Greyhounds defense really coming up big there yet again on that 3rd down stop. Forced the O-line to really make a hold right there, and nonetheless, even on the open pass to Lynn, he wasn't able to complete it. The Shamrocks offense looked really sped up in that last 3 plays, and the Greyhounds defense looked as good as we've seen it in the entire season.
So what do you think? They're going to fake the punt this time, or are they done with tricks?
We'll see. You have to imagine the Greyhounds will be ready for a little tomfoolery from the Shamrocks this time. You cannot let anything slide from here on out.
Punt nearly blocked by Cannon. Williams calling for the fair catch right around the 17-yard line.
So a long field for the Greyhounds to cover. They have 4 minutes and 9 seconds to do so. Anthony Colner is going to have to put together a nice drive as they do trail by 8 points. So a touchdown in the 2-point conversion will knot it all up here to end the half. We'll see what Colner has in mind. We'll see what Coach Hebert and Coach Hahn have for this Greyhounds offense to end the first half.
Earlier we talked about how this offensive line was struggling. And so Colner was having the pocket collapse, and he had to rush it, he had to scramble, but when he was on his best was when he was making quick passes. And so I expect to see a lot more of that with 4:09 to play, trying to get the quickest option possible. Hands off on the first play of the drive. Pemberton brought down after a very short gain, maybe even no gain. Yeah, it looks like they're going to spot him with no gain on the play. So 2nd and 10, the clock continues to tick.
Yeah, that Pemberton read was really supposed to be up the middle. I think he started to do a little bit too much, jumping towards the outside, towards the bottom of your screen right there. Really should have taken it up in between those dashes, and he could have gained a couple yards right there. And that is the thing with Pemberton. He's so shifty. He likes to just cut up the outside to try to get away with a big gain, but sometimes it just results in no gain like we see right there.
So if you're Carmel and you can't score on this drive, at least milk the clock as much as you can. Don't give Trinity the time to score again, as that pass nearly picked off by the Shamrocks.
Yeah, great pass deflection right there. That is number 16 coming up big.
Sonny Bratcher Gray
Sonny
right
Bratcher
there.
Gray again, one of the only 3 players with an interception for this Shamrocks team. So Colner getting really risky right there, throwing it to one of the better cornerbacks on this Trinity team. Jake Bellin luckily able to swap that one down, but 3rd and 10 from the 18-yard line. Not an ideal spot for the Greyhounds.
So an injury timeout now. Keandre Thompson walking on his own strength off the field, but he was bent backwards a little bit. Not what you want if you're Trinity trying to get a stop here late in the first half when a key defender like that goes out.
So the Greyhounds just have a lot of time to discuss this one over due to injury, but you're going to have to put together quite the nice play right here. And the last time the Greyhounds saw themselves in a situation like this, I believe it was 3rd and long from a pretty similar field position. They went deep to Bellin. Bellin had it on both of his hands, just wasn't able to come down with it. We'll see if they go for another deep ball right here, or if they're going to really try to just get to the sticks. All they need is 10 yards, and they can keep the ball. If they're forced to punt, the Shamrocks have another chance to go put more on the board.
3rd and 10, big 3rd down for Carmel. Colner with it. Pocket collapsing, Hill scramble. On his right side, flag comes in. Colner airing it out downfield, nearly picked off by the Shamrocks. That'll bring up 4th down pending the result of this flag.
So that time getting underneath the ball for the Shamrocks is the Notre Dame baseball commit, Caleb Ricks. Was able to get under that one. He was intended for Nate Williams, but Caleb Ricks just had Nate in a nice defensive trance right there. Colner nearly getting intercepted. They are going to be forced to punt. If that ball was to be picked off, it's basically the same, the same result as a punt. Nonetheless, the Shamrocks, they really have themselves a nice opportunity here. A little bit more time before the 2-minute mark in the first half. That's more than enough time for the Shamrocks offense to get going and get to the end zone with the way we've seen them playing.
Thankfully, if you're Carmel, you do get the ball to start the second half. And so hopefully if you're able to get a defensive stop on this next drive, you're sitting a little more comfortable. This would be a much more severe situation if you knew that Trinity was getting the ball and you give up a score right now, you could be putting the game way out of your reach way too early.
Yeah, Colner's
punt is low. He has some issues with it. Picks it right back up, but a short punt. Let's see which kind of hop it takes. A Carmel bounce across midfield. So the Hounds getting bailed out there on special teams. Could have been a lot worse than it was, but still a decently short field for Johnson to play with.
Real nice punt right there from Christian Murphy. A nice Greyhounds bounce after he dropped the snap. But Colner really just struggling to get going early here in the first half. Last week, he had a 19 for 29, 2 touchdowns and 185 passing yards. This week, no touchdowns. He really hasn't completed anything too crazy with any of his wide receivers. It's mostly been big gains from Drew Pemberton. Nate Williams had himself a nice play, but other than that, Colner and the Greyhounds offense has really struggled to get going.
Yeah, if you go into halftime with only 2 field goals, that's a big disappointment for a team who's averaging a little more than 30 points a game. First play for Trinity is a handoff, and he's brought back a couple lines behind the line of scrimmage, so it's going to bring up 2nd down and about 12.
Laid out by the junior Chase Jared right there, a huge hit. This Greyhounds defense, they looked really good in their last set of downs.
Yeah,
they come out with some intensity for this drive as well.
Handoff was to Wilson. We mentioned the depth in this running back core for Trinity, so we're going to see a lot of these guys between Floyd, Wilson, and Barry all touch the ball as we get deeper into this night. Wilson with it again. He's got some more room. Breaks one tackle, breaks another. Trying to push his way across the line to gain, but he's just short. So 3rd down and 1 coming for Trinity, and you might expect they'll go right back to him.
A gain of 11 yards for Chris Wilson, the senior running back, one of the few senior players on this Trinity team. He's really just able to find the gap up that far sideline. Brings it just shy of the sticks. Certainly sets up a nice play for the Shamrocks right here.
Shockley in defensively right now for Carmel. Ball's handed off once again to Wilson. He's got enough for a 1st down.
Yeah, he completely created his own opportunity right there on that 3rd and 1 with the big 2nd and 12 carry. Just creates his own opportunity to get the 1st down right there on 3rd and 1. I'm not surprised at all that they're going up the middle to Chris Wilson in that situation.
Yeah, if you're Trinity and you can keep just chipping away on this field, you don't have to air it out and try to get a touchdown, but if you can get a field goal, you make this game a 2-possession lead going into halftime, and that's exactly where you want to be. Next snap, Johnson airs it out deep downfield. He's got a man open, broken up by Carmel. What a stand by Dylan Gold, bringing up 2nd down and 10.
So pass intended for Mason Schurer right there, but Dylan Gold's able to break that one up, uses his 3-inch advantage against Schurer, and really just, Dylan Gold We weren't quite sure. That was a question mark on who was going to start at the cornerback position all season. Dylan Gould had himself a nice game, his best game of his high school career against Centerville, and he's coming up big now against Trinity. So he may just keep fighting that cornerback position. It's still a question mark, so he needs to continue to prove why he deserves that spot, and I certainly say he did so right there.
2nd down and 10. Pressure comes, pocket will collapse. Johnson trying to run with it now, and he'll pick up a couple yards. Going back to Dylan Gould, he's one of those guys that has been around this program for a while, and he's heard a lot of things from coaches, either if he's too small or not quite up to the skill capacity they expect, but he's been able to really take a big step up this year. Last year was mostly special teams for him, but he's been able to get the start defensively this season, and we're seeing him make those appropriate stops as needed. 3rd down and 8. Big 3rd down for Carmel. Wilson on the move, finds a man on the sideline, but he's short of the 1st down.
So Wilson's able to come through with that one on that near sideline, just short of the 1st down. So 4th and 4, it looks like the Shamrocks may keep their offense out there. I got to tell you what, 1:13 on the clock. This is real bold. They want to get more points on the board, but you obviously run the risk of giving the Greyhounds pretty decent field position with a decent amount of time left.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Trinity, you definitely have a lot of faith in your defense. So even if this 4th down doesn't work out in your favor, you got a lot of trust in the guys replacing you. 4th and 4, Johnson will throw. He's got some room in front of him to run. Airs it out deep downfield. He's got a man wide open. Untouched into the end zone is Lynn, and a sucker punch in the face to the Hounds.
So Jeremiah Lynn, he leads the team in receptions, leads the team in receiving yards. That is his first touchdown of the season, however, and it comes through on a 4th and 4 attempt from the Shamrocks. A really risky play, but it works out nicely. You see Johnson roll out to his left on the run. It looks like Lynn just really dusted his man downfield. Really uncovered, made the play easy for Johnson, and Jeremiah Lynn gets his first touchdown of the season. Certainly the Shamrocks' best wide receiver coming up big to end the 1st half.
Yeah, that really takes the wind out of your sails if you're Carmel, trying to get a defensive stop on 4th down, but it results in a touchdown for Trinity with just over a minute to play. We'll see how Carmel handles this last minute.
We knew that was going to be a handful for this Greyhounds defense. Little did I know, however, is how much of a task this entire Trinity offense would be for the Greyhounds defense. I mean, you have 4th and 4. All you need is one stop, and you have a chance to go tie it up going into the 2nd half. But you don't get that 4th and 4 stop, and now here you are trailing 21-6 with over a minute left to go in the 1st half. This game is 4 away from finished. But the Greyhounds, I mean, after that 4th and 4, you can really kind of feel this one slip away.
Yeah, and plays like that is what really almost makes you feel like Trinity's playing at a different level. When it's 4th and 4 and they have the confidence to air it out and go for the end zone in a game like this, they really have a much higher level of confidence than the Hounds do in this moment. Even on the road, even coming off a loss, Trinity feels like they are the better team tonight.
Trinity was the #1 team in the state of Kentucky heading into week 3. They fell short to Center Grove in week 3, 24-10. They are now the #3 team in the class of 6A for Kentucky. They're 2-1 on the season, similar to the Greyhounds, also 2-1.
Yeah, the only difference there is that Trinity's coming off a loss and Carmel's coming off a win, and we knew that would be a difference maker coming into tonight, was how would momentum play a part in the result of this game, and so far we're not seeing a whole lot of it. So 1:03 to play. Trinity will kick off, and a little bit of a squib kick up the middle, and they'll call it a touchback.
Touchback.
So Carmel coming onto the field one more time in this 1st half, trying to make this game closer than it is.
They only have a minute to work with on the clock. Corner's going to have to really whip something together. He's off to a certainly slow start here in Carmel Stadium tonight.
Now keep in mind, Carmel does get the ball, start a 2nd half, so don't be surprised if the Hounds just keep it on the ground to end the 1st half and avoid a costly turnover that could result in an even deeper margin to come back from. Corner to pass. Flag comes in, finds Williams with some room to run. He'll pick up a first down, scurrying out of the sideline, but a flag does come in, and we'll see if this pulls the Hounds back.
So Nate Williams able to get open up the middle right there. A nice job by Colner really reading his situation. Hits his #1 target in Williams, who's able to bring it just short of the sticks. Now that flag, that can certainly be costly as the Greyhounds finally start to get some offense going.
And so an offensive hold ruins the Nate Williams first down, and that'll pin the Hounds even deeper in their own territory. Clock less than a minute to play, but kind of starting to get into emergency mode is Carmel.
Yeah, this flag's going to bring it all the way to that 10-yard line. So just terrible, terrible field position that the Greyhounds are working with under a minute left to go. Just a tough situation for them to be in as they trail 15, have pretty much the entire field to work with, not a lot of time.
Now Trinity does have all 3 timeouts, so if they want to, they could take advantage of that and possibly bring the ball back into their possession to end this first half. 1st and 20, pressure comes. Colner back in his own end zone, trying to avoid the safety. Lets it go, finds Williams across his original line of scrimmage and a few extra yards there. So what a drive-saving play by Nate Williams and Anthony Colner to dig themselves out of the ditch.
Yeah, great pocket presence right there or pocket awareness right there from Colner, dodging a couple tackles in his own end zone. I mean, you want to talk about a costly mistake. That certainly would have been one, but he was able to actually break a couple tackles and finds Williams open as the blitz just kind of, you force some of those linebackers up, rushing Colner. That's going to leave Williams open up the middle, and Colner did a great job dodging a couple tackles, finding his man open up the middle. That's the plays he's going to have to start making if they want to crawl back into this one.
2nd down and 4. Pass complete to Bellin for a first down, and he finds his way out of bounds to stop the clock.
And there it is again, a quick pass up the flat to Bellin. These are the plays that Colner needs to start making. He's looking really good in those last 2 plays.
For sure, and that's an encouraging sign. Even if this drive doesn't result in a Carmel score, you can see the confidence build in the junior quarterback. So a fresh set of downs for Carmel, trying to utilize these last 35 seconds. Pemberton in the backfield. Colner to pass, pressure comes. Lets it go to nobody. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Really disappointed in the effort by this Carmel O-line so far tonight.
Yeah, this Trinity Shamrocks defense, this defensive line has certainly done a great job. For the most part, they have a really solid defensive line. Their defensive end, Bailey Vance, he has 16 total tackles on the season. We were talking about Keandre Thompson earlier, 5 tackles for losses. Nearly got a sack earlier in this game. And their boy Jabari Frost, 11 total tackles. They certainly make up the bulk for this Trinity Shamrocks defense.
2nd down and 10. Pass nearly picked off, but a completion made to Dom Shockley. And he's across midfield. Clock continues to tick, but the Hounds call a timeout.
So a real nice job from the Greyhounds right there. Shockley able to cross the 50, splits the field in half. And now the Greyhounds quickly calling their timeout. Great job right there. They may just have a shot at the end zone or to at least get some points on the board to end this half. That is certainly what the Greyhounds need right now.
Yeah, 23 seconds and 2 timeouts is definitely a lot for the Hounds if they want to try to muster up another score before the first half ends. And it's definitely a momentum switch that you want to see when you get, like I said, the wind taken out of your sails at quick score to end the half is what you need to kind of get back into it. And then once again, get the ball back to start the 3rd quarter.
So Shockley, that's his 2nd big gain of the game, his 3rd catch of the game, up to 10 total catches on the season. He only had 1 reception last week, so he's certainly making some noise here tonight. And Colner also starting to come alive in these last few plays. Certainly love to see that, as the Greyhounds are going to really need to continue to scrap out some offensive plays to get back into this one.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Anthony Colner over these past 2 years, and the biggest takeaway we can take from his game is that it takes a lot for him to get comfortable. And so his opening drive might not be perfect, but as long as he continues to get settled, he's going to have a great game. 1st down and 10, 23 seconds to play in the first half. Hounds just across midfield. And it looks like an offsides by Trinity.
I mean, just a blatant offsides from Trinity right there. Really just jumping the gun is number 7, the offensive or the outside linebacker, J.C. Wilson. He had 3 tackles last week versus Center Grove. Not sure what his ideal was on that one. Just clearly jumping. That's a huge break for the Greyhounds. Going to set them up nicely to continue this nice offensive drive they have going.
Yeah, nearly timed it up, but not quite enough. So first down and 5 now for the Hounds. Not a ridiculous amount of penalty yards, but definitely anything helps if you're the Hounds trying to chip away on this field. They'll reset the clock to 23.3 seconds.
23.3 seconds on the clock.
So 2 receivers to corner's left, 2 to his right. Could be a deep bomb right here. Would love to see that from the Greyhounds. They need to go deep.
And the Hounds give the penalty yards right back with a false start.
I almost thought the Greyhounds were trying to make the Shamrocks jump right there. Honestly, might have been a good idea after eating them once, just keep bringing those penalty yards up. But instead, just even it back out. False start brings it right back to 1st and 10.
Yes, the flag giveth and the flag taketh away. It's a 1st down and 10 with 23 seconds to play with Hounds. Avoiding the huddle now. Still 2 receivers on each side for Colner. He'll pass. Pocket collapsed once again. Colner some room to run. A lot of room in front of him. No blockers. Makes one man miss. Stumbling down around the 25-yard line is Anthony Colner. 15 seconds on the clock. And the Hounds call timeout.
Nice play right there from Anthony Colner, running it up the middle. He's able to pick up the 1st down and then some. Gets just outside of the 25-yard line. Really putting the Greyhounds in good scoring position now after that big gain quarterback keeper.
Actually, no timeout is called, but a flag is thrown instead, and it's a holding on the defense, but that'll be declined by the Hounds.
That's good enough for a Carmel.
So 1st down for Carmel,
1st down.
and they're starting to get into field goal range. You'd love to see Colner try to air it out once again. Plenty of time for a few plays here. Defensive line is stacked for Trinity. Pressure comes. Colner airs it out deep towards the end zone. He's got a man into the end zone. Touchdown, Carmel. Don Shockley hauls it in, and the Hounds are scoring back.
Dominic Shockley, his 4th reception of the game, his 3rd big reception of the game. That one good for 26 yards, and that is his 1st receiving touchdown ever. Last year as the sophomore, he was playing defensive back. Now in his junior season playing wide receiver, is able to get his 1st ever touchdown in that wide receiver position, and it comes at an amazing time, basically in double coverage at the top of your screen right there. What a play from Colner, and what a catch from Dominic Shockley.
Yeah, and what a momentum-shifting drive by the Hounds. They had less than a minute to play in the 1st half, as the extra point is good. 9.8 seconds to play here. And we expect Trinity to not do a whole lot offensively.
Great drive from the Greyhounds right there. They had under a minute to go. They were faced at their own 10-yard line, had the entire field to work with, and Colner really coming alive in that last drive. He was able to find Shockley for a couple long receptions. He was able to get going up the middle, a nice quarterback keeper to get them in scoring position, and he capitalizes off that play, hitting Shockley, coming up huge. He looked so much better as the weeks progressed. You know, week 1, his 1st week ever playing wide receiver, I personally thought it wasn't cut out for him. He had a couple passes off his hands. I'm like, you know, that's why they had him at cornerback last year. But now you can really see him as the weeks progress, starting to get more comfortable in that wide receiver position. That is a great catch, basically in double coverage. Comes up huge for the Greyhounds to end that 1st half.
Yeah, like I said, a little bit of doubt for Shockley going into week 1, especially with the depth that we see in this receiving corps. But he's proving himself to fit into this offensive scheme for Carmel. And so the Shockley and Colner connection makes it so that in just a few moments, Carmel's going to have the ball and be down only 1 score.
19, Lucas Christian Murphy.
Christian Murphy will send it away.
Kickoff for your Greyhound.
10.1 to play in the 1st half. Trinity holding on to a 21-13 lead. And Hounds faithful has come back to life. Christian Murphy sends it away, a short kickoff. It takes a bounce, nearly gobbled up by the Hounds, but it's scooped back up by Trinity. So 9.4 seconds for this Trinity offense to see if they're going to muster up a last-second try. Otherwise, we'll go to halftime with a one-score lead.
Now, we did already see Jamarian Berry. He had a huge gain it was actually Zach Floyd up the near sideline. He had a huge gain earlier this game with a nice little screenplay. If the Shamrocks are going to try to muster something up for the end zone, I can't imagine they're going to air it out deep. I have to imagine it's more of a screenplay type play, but honestly, looks like they're just going to take their knee. So the Greyhounds will be heading into the second half. They get the ball back to start off the second half. A major opportunity for the Greyhounds, only trailing by 8 here now.
We'll send it down to the field for halftime and see you back up here for the second half here on CHTV.
21-13. Fans, be sure to stick around for the halftime performance of your Carmel Marching Greyhounds.
Welcome back. I'm Andrew Huitsing alongside Brendan Melby for your halftime report. Opening up the game, we saw a great start from the defense, recovering a forced fumble on the around the 6th play of the game. Although Carmel is down 21-13, Carmel starts this next half with the ball. Let's see if they can go get another touchdown or a field goal to bring them back in this game. They just got to keep on grinding and grinding. Let's see what Carmel can do to bring themselves back into this game. Yeah, Brendan, the last drive we saw a really explosive and good drive from the Greyhounds, just striding down the field with little time left on the clock. We're going to need to see them do that throughout the rest of the game to keep this momentum going. And if we score a touchdown after we receive this kick, I think we're going to be still in this game for sure. Absolutely, and as you were saying about that last drive, Carmel's offense has been struggling a little bit. They had to settle for a field goal. With that last drive with about a minute remaining, they drove all the way down the field. Greyhounds got to play like that this whole second half with that same and have drives like those. Also about the Greyhounds defense trying to stop the Trinity rush game. You've seen lots of Trinity rushes for advances throughout the field as long as they're pass game. The defense needs to be all around being able, ready to stop the Trinity offense, which is very explosive, which we have seen in this first half. Yeah, absolutely. As we talked about the numbers from Zane Johnson before, he's a great quarterback, but besides him, their rush game is elite. 2 rushing touchdowns, but also that 1 bomb throwing touchdown. Their quarterback is a great player. They have had a lot of big plays so far with the 52-yard catch leading to that first touchdown for Trinity. Yeah, and we also need to see Pemberton and Nate Williams keep on getting the ball out. They have been. Nate Williams has had 3 catches for 55 yards, and Andrew Pemberton has had 6 attempts for 31 yards. We need to keep on getting these guys the ball, as we've seen that they are our playmakers in the previous weeks. Absolutely, Andrew. We're going to go have to see you guys after this half, and let's hope for a Carmel go.
One city, one school, one shared purpose. We are Carmel High School.
Nestled in the center of the Arts and Design District, Carmel High School students are introduced to incredible learning opportunities in and out of the classroom. With a multi-layered curriculum focusing on the whole student, we cater to each individual's educational needs. Our diverse student population can find their passion and realize their potential.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
And with over 150 clubs, everyone can find their niche.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
Our award-winning marching band has over 4 BOA national championships, and with over 10 choirs you can find.
Next year at IU, I'll be studying social media marketing.
Next year, I'm studying human biology at Cornell.
Next year, I'm studying law and society at Purdue University.
I am Carmel High School.
Earning the name City of Champions. Carmel High School has a long-standing tradition of success. with more athletic state championships than any other school in the state of Indiana, and the longest winning streak in the nation. Carmel continues to develop exceptional athletes.
I'm on a full-ride scholarship to Boston University.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
With over 47 languages spoken by our student body, we are as inclusive as we are diverse.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
I am Carmel High School.
Carmel High School has many proud traditions, and we share a common purpose. Because at Carmel High School, you can explore opportunities, experience excellence, and realize your potential.
We are Carmel High School. And together we achieve.
We thank the Carmel Marching Greyhounds for being here this evening to share their talents with us. And once again, those Carmel Marching Greyhounds will next be in action in their competition season on September 28th at the Bands of America Louisville Regional. Good luck to the Marching Greyhounds. Andrew Pemberton and 21 Dominic Shockley. Back keeps to receive for the Greyhound. 9 Carson Hilbert. Kicking off for the Routes. Touchback. Carmel will take over 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Still on CHTV, I'm Boudouris with Josh Melby. 1st down and 10 here to start the second half. Like you mentioned, partner, that last drive for Carmel was pivotal. Hounds kind of on their heels near the end of the first half. Game starting to slip away, but they're able to storm right back and get this game down to 1 possession lead.
Yeah, Colner and the rest of the offense coming alive. Dom Shockley coming up big with a couple big-time receptions in that last drive of the first half. Obviously coming through with the touchdown. The Greyhounds' first touchdown of the game. And I mean, couldn't have said it any better. Certainly a pivotal drive for the Greyhounds.
Williams gets the first touch of the second half and gains 5 yards. 2nd down and 5 for Carmel. Colner in the pocket. He's had issues staying in there tonight. He'll run again. He fumbles the ball, picked back up by Trinity. Room to run, storming towards the end zone and brought down at the 2-yard line is Lococo.
There goes Nick Lococo, the senior inside linebacker, just bowling his way through after Colner fumbles out when he scoops it up after 1 bounce, carries it all the way to the 2-yard line. What a nice fumble recovery from Nick Lococo. Sets up the Shamrocks for some real nice offense right here.
And after some quick discussion by the officials, that has turned into an incomplete pass. So Carmel bailed out once again. We've seen them a few times tonight get bailed out by some good officiating. So they're saying that the pass was incomplete, not fumbled. So Carmel holds on to the ball. 3rd down and 5.
That one crushing for the Trinity Shamrocks fans. From our view, it honestly looked like a fumble to me. Colner really did not get his wrist flicked forward, but the refs, obviously, they have the best view right there. And for the Greyhound faithful, they have got to be amped up. Sets up 3rd and 5 for the Greyhounds, whereas they would have been in a real sticky situation if the Shamrocks picked up possession at the 2-yard line. So, I mean, Greyhounds catch a break. We'll see what they can make out of it. 3rd and 5 from the 25-yard line.
Yeah, you can see Carmel almost even quit on the play once the ball came loose. They thought immediately that it was incomplete pass, and that inevitably is what led to the deep bring back by Nick Lococo. But reset now for Carmel, 3rd and 5. potentially see the ball on the ground for the first time in this drive. No, Colner airs it out instead. Bellin is the target. He's got him down the field. Brought out of bounds near midfield for a first down.
Huge play for Jake Bellin. He had 5 catches last week against Centerville. He got himself a touchdown. And this week, he certainly had his fair share of struggles. Dropped a couple passes off his hands in the first half, but comes up big right there, completing the first down on a 3rd and 5. Nothing better than a deep bomb 3rd down conversion. Colner to Bellin connection. It has been so strong these last 2 years.
Yeah, that was not a wide open pass option for Bellin, but Colner able to put it into his hands and an easy first down after the 3rd medium. Next play is a pass to Dom Shockley, and he's across midfield for a first down.
Boy, this Greyhounds offense is coming alive. I love the quick decisions from Anthony Colner. Just fakes the handoff, throws it right up the middle to Dom Shockley. When he's making these quick decisions, we saw in the last drive of the first half, he was forced to make quick decisions, and it worked out real nicely. Those last 2 plays right there from Colner, just quick pass to Bellin up the near sideline, quick pass to Shockley up the middle, and both good for a first down. He is looking real nice right now.
1st and 10, Carmel rolling now. Kepler in the backfield. Colner takes a snap. He'll pass it. Trying to run the ball. He'll scramble. Going left side. No targets, and he'll just fling it out of bounds towards the Trinity sideline. So we're seeing, so far, this whole game, every pass play that Anthony Colner tries to run is either a quick pass to a wide open receiver, or he tries to scramble the ball and gets nothing.
Yeah, you know, I think this Trinity Shamrocks front has been really good all game, really forcing some pressure on Anthony Colner. Therefore, when he doesn't make his split-second decision, there is pressure right in front of him. Getting to him on that play is Keandre Thompson. Not a player you want to mess with, so a good choice from Colner right there. Just flick that one out of bounds, toss that one away. Only brings up 2nd and 10. Not a bad first down decision right there.
Colner motioning to Williams to move a little deeper and wider on the line. Snap is low, hands it off to Kepler, and Kepler once again is stuffed. Boy, has he had nothing going for him tonight.
Kepler just really struggling to get some scrimmage yards produced. A loss of 2 yards right there from Kepler. You know, he's not one to be prone for big plays on the entire season heading into tonight. He's had 73 yards. The big play running backs for the Greyhounds have mainly been Drew Pemberton and Colin Johnson. Colin Johnson down with an injury, and you know, Kepler's going to have to get it figured out if he wants to, you know, make the most of his time that he'll get off of the Johnson injury.
3rd and 12, pressure comes once again. Colner escaping the pocket, he'll move left. Still behind the line of scrimmage. He airs it out deep downfield for Bellin. Bellin holds on to it. He brings it in, and a tough hit comes in. Bellin's slow to get up, but he hauls it in. And it'll be first down and goal for Carmel.
In double coverage, Jake Bellin coming up huge. What a play from Anthony Colner. Rolls out to his left. I thought for sure he was going to start scrambling up the top of your screen right there, but he's able to set his feet, which honestly is not something we see Colner do a whole lot. He sets his feet, throws it into double coverage. A beautiful ball for Bellin and this Greyhounds offense. Jake Bellin coming alive to start off the second half, his second big play in this drive alone.
This is already a really mature adjustment we're seeing from Anthony Colner. Instead of just giving up on the play and trying to scramble for as many yards as possible, he is setting his feet and getting the right pass. Now we see Shockley in the Wildcat once again. He's got Kepler to his right. Shockley will take it himself. And just like last time, not a whole lot of yards for the young man.
Lococo goes unblocked right there as Shockley brings it up the near side, dashes. Lococo just really gets to him before he even passes the line of scrimmage. So he's able to tackle him from the shoestring. Luckily, Shockley is able to gain 5 as Lococo got to him from behind.
So we know it worked last week, but this Wildcat formation with Shockley is not appearing to be the move tonight for the Hounds against this Trinity defense.
Well, Shockley is responsible for the Greyhounds' only touchdown of the game, so giving him a couple more looks. He was able to score a touchdown last week against Centerville in this Wildcat. Looks like they're going back to him. I do not expect it to be the same Wildcat where they just run it up the middle. We may see Shockley, you know, throw it for the first time of his career now.
Shockley gets the snap, he keeps it himself, trying to get a few yards, and there's nothing there.
Lococo gets to the backfield yet again, so bringing Shockley down on both of those last 2 plays. It is Nick Lococo, the senior inside linebacker for the Shamrocks. He has 11 total tackles on the season going into tonight. He had 0 versus Center Grove. They certainly struggled, but he is coming back alive here in week 4 against the Greyhounds.
Spencer Sell was in the game for the last play, but he'll scurry back to the home sideline after the 1 snap. 3rd down and goal for Carmel. Colner back in the quarterback position. He takes the snap. Pressure coming. Colner to his right. 2 guys coming. Can't get, stays on his feet. Anthony Colner still up. He'll take it himself. Throws end zone just short. What a heroic effort by Anthony Colner. I thought he was down a couple times, and now he's slow to get back up. And he is hopping on 1 foot.
So Colner just really rushing around, had about 3 players from that Shamrocks front touch him way back in the backfield. He was able to prevent the loss of, 10, 15, 20 yards. However, as he rolls out to the right, intended receiver in the end zone, Colner has to hobble off on 1 foot and falls down on his back. Really just can't get up right now. A terrible sight to see. We saw him go down week 1 against Homestead in a similar situation to that right there, and he was in a boot all week. We've been talking to Colner throughout the school year. He said he was intending on not running nearly as much outside of the pocket as he has been his entire high school career. But, that's just something that he's too adjusted to. He's always running outside of the pocket, and the reason he wanted to stop is so he can prevent the injuries. But you see it happen right there. Could be a terrible injury for Colner as he rolls out to the right.
Right now, I'm a little more optimistic about Colner. The way that they're treating him right now is almost like just a calf strain. And so while this could end his night, it shouldn't end the season. He seems to be in a lot of pain, but the staff around him seems to be treating him with a decent sense of lackadaisically, if that's the word you want to use.
Yeah, hopefully he will be all right. The Greyhounds are going to need him to be all right. Yeah, he gets back up on his feet. The Greyhounds are going to need him to get back out there. He was able to put together an incredible drive to end the first half, get the Greyhounds back in this, got them in really nice scoring position right there with a couple of deep bombs to Jake Bellin. Lucas Christian Murphy was able to go out there, drill the field goal. He remains 100% on the season, 7 for 7. So the Greyhounds cut this within 1 score. If you have to send out backup sophomore quarterback Jackson Treadway, it's going to be a lot tougher than if Colner is able to get back up there at full capacity. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects the rest of the game. But the Greyhounds are right back in this thing, Noah.
Colner's moving pretty well right now. I think there's a good chance this could just be a calf cramp that he was able to get over quickly. And the way that he reacted could potentially line up to a calf cramp. I don't know if you ever had one recently, but they do hurt a lot, but not for a long time. And so he's walking on his own strength, looks a little bit defeated on the bench right now, so potentially getting some bad news, but he seems to be moving all right. Kickoff is well short, just in front of the 20-yard line, and they'll call, looks like a fair catch.
Christian Murphy, not a big leg right there on the kickoff. You typically see Obermeyer go out there to do the kickoffs because his leg is able to get it further into Greyhounds territory, Shamrocks territory. Christian Murphy leaves that one short of the 20-yard line. Really sets up nice field possession for the Shamrocks. Not sure why they sent Christian Murphy out there for that kickoff.
Well, Anthony Colner just scared the home stands for a little bit, made his way towards the locker room, but made a turn for the trash can instead. So looks like he's doing all right. We'll see how his night progresses, if we'll see any more of him, but I'm optimistic that he'll come back into this game. 1st and 10 for the Shamrocks on their own 24-yard line. Handoff to Barry. He's got some room, breaks 1 tackle, and he's going to be just enough for a first down.
So Jamarian Barry, a 10-yard gain right there on the rush. He is responsible for 2 of Trinity's 3 touchdowns in tonight's contest, a real X factor for the Shamrocks.
Yeah, Barry's been really stepping up in ways that I wasn't quite expecting. I was really looking for Floyd and Wilson to be those first 2 guys. Barry's been the man so far tonight for Trinity, and we're going to continue to see him. And honestly, like we've been saying, this entire back unit is going to be present for the rest of this evening. 1st down and 10. Hands it off once again to Barry. Modest gain, looks like about 8 or 9 yards. There's nothing the Hounds can do right now to stop him from getting substantial yardage as the Rocks move their way downfield.
Yeah, and Jamarian Berry, just the type of player where it takes 2 players to bring him down. He's able to break 1 tackle up that far sideline, gets outside those far side dashes. It takes both Aaron Fedorcha and Will Massey to bring him down, and that's pretty much how it goes all the time for Berry. You need all hands on deck to bring that guy down.
Second down and short for Trinity. Don't be surprised if they try to air the ball out now here with a low risk situation. Screen pass is dropped by Warner. So that'll bring up third down and short, and this is the chance now you're going to see him give it back to one of their running backs, either Berry or Florida Wilson, and punch that in for a first down.
So 3rd and 1, it looks like the Shamrocks making a few substitutions right here. They are going to pull out Warner. That's a sophomore wide receiver who just, bobbled that easy screen pass. All he needed to bring that in, they probably would have had the first down. Now there's a little bit more to think about on the 3rd down attempt.
O-line is stacked. Berry in the backfield. They hand it off to him. He's got just enough for a first down as Trinity continues to push the ball.
So Jamarian Berry just really racking up the scrimmage yards on this drive.
So this is where we're going to see adjustments need to be made by Carmel. You're already seeing the second half offensive strategy by Trinity. They're going to keep the ball on the ground. They have a lead. They can milk the clock as much as they want, find ways to get stops at the line of scrimmage instead of letting them chip away yards and getting those easy first downs. .6:20 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Trinity still with the ball, approaching midfield. Johnson, play action. He airs it out deep downfield. He's got a man open, and he drops the ball. What an win! Had it in his hands.
What an arm from Zane Johnson. Launches that one about 50 yards downfield. Got it to Lynn in his hands at the 5-yard line. No cornerbacks in front of him. Would have been good for a 55-yard touchdown. But Jeremiah Lynn, Zane Johnson's #1 target, the senior wide receiver. Last week he had 9 catches for 70 yards. Not one to mess up that play. But the Greyhounds catch a break here early on in the second half. And Jeremiah Lynn not able to pull through for the 55-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that play had touchdown written all over it. Trinity will go to the air once again. Johnson airing it out deep. He's got nobody there, though. So that's one of those situations where you really start kicking yourself if you are Jeremiah Lynn, where you had the ball in your hands, but now you're facing a 3rd down and long.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, I love how the secondary was ready for that one the second time around. Both Dylan Gold and Drew Cannon all over the intended receiver, Scherer. They're not going to let another mistake pass up on them. And like you said, that's why Lynn needed to come through with that first one, because the odds that they will get another open look quite like that are just too low with the good stacked secondary that the Greyhounds have between Gold and Drew Cannon coming big on that last play.
3rd and 10. Johnson with plenty of time. He goes deep once again, but just too strong. Scherer was the target, but he overthrew him. And that'll bring up 4th down and 10.
And Scherer did a real nice job right there getting past the secondary. No cornerbacks in front of him.
They're going to call a personal foul against the Hounds, and that is a costly penalty on the 3rd down and long. So they just roughed the passer a little too much. And so it's some free yards for the Shamrocks, not ideal.
Yeah, not just the free yards, but that brings them the first down. They go deep. 3 plays in a row just trying to complete that deep bomb. They weren't able to get it once. But a costly flag right there from the Greyhounds. The deep ball wasn't there for the Shamrocks, but they get the first down nonetheless due to a costly flag roughing the passer.
So the Hounds bailing out Trinity here. 1st and 10, they'll hand the ball off. And there's the early stop we were looking for from the Carmel D-line.
That's what they needed. It looks like Emmanuel Griffin getting in the middle right there, bringing him down as soon as he gets up the middle. Nice tackle right there. Actually, Ozzie Pollard coming up big for the Greyhounds defense. He has 8 tackles on the season, 3-star right there, has an IU offer on the board. Real solid players, able to play both sides of the ball, both defensive line and tight end.
Yeah, he's been a workhorse so far, and it's good to see he's been able to keep up the pace, playing both sides of the ball, and there's been little worry about his ability to do both. Second down and 9. Wide open pass complete for Trinity, and there's another first down.
Soft coverage up the middle from the Greyhounds right there. It looked like Jimmy Winbush should have been a little bit more aggressive on the intended receiver for the Shamrocks right there, but just a few yards back, and Johnson's able to hit his man up the middle. So now moving the chains again, 1st and 10 for the Shamrocks at the 22-yard line, forcing their way into the scoring position.
Holden Schoen into the game in tight end for Trinity. We haven't seen a whole lot of him so far, but he hauled in that reception. 1st down and 10. Approaching the end zone is Trinity. They'll air it out once again. He's got a man. Lynn makes somebody miss, trying to find the end zone, but he steps out of bounds.
So Jeremiah Lynn sheds the Drew Cannon tackle right there. The Butler commit, unable to prevent the first down, or unable to prevent the first down opportunity for Jeremiah Lynn right there. Jeremiah Lynn sheds the tackle, gets forced out of bounds. Real nice opportunity for the Shamrocks right here at the 11-yard line, just working their way further and further into scoring position.
This 1st and 10, all thanks to the costly roughing the passer call earlier in this drive. 4:47 to play in the 3rd. Johnson takes the snap. Nearly picked off by Carmel. Dylan Gold in coverage there, and an excellent effort by the cornerback.
Dylan Gold again, certainly making a name for himself out here tonight in week 4. We talked about it earlier in the first half. There was a question mark on whether or not he would be the rightful starter. But after tonight, that's a couple pass deflections for him. He had a couple real nice tackles against Centerville in week 3. He's had a very, very nice last 2 weeks. Comes up big on that pass deflection in the red zone.
2nd and 10, they hand it off to Barry, and he's brought down quickly. What an effort here by Carmel in the red zone. This is definitely what you want to see. If you can hold Trinity to just a field goal, that's a win for this defense. It's been a rough drive, but keeping the game close as we get closer to the end of the 3rd quarter is a win for this Carmel defense.
Yeah, real nice tackle right there from the junior inside linebacker, Will Massey. The solo tackle against Jamarion Barry. So that's a huge stop, only giving up 1 yard.
3rd down and 9.
Ooh.
A reverse here, wide open field for Trinity. Reaching into the end zone, touchdown Rocks.
Touchdown.
So a little trickery from the Trinity Shamrocks right there. They hand it off to Jamarion Barry. He takes it up towards the far side, hashes, and then pitches it back to the wide receiver, Jeremiah Lynn. He is responsible for one of the Shamrocks touchdowns earlier in this game, and he gets his 2nd touchdown of the season and of the game with 3:58 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Jeremiah Lynn, the best wide receiver for this Trinity Shamrocks team, and a real nice play call right there from the Rocks.
So Lynn makes up for the dropped end zone pass earlier and makes this game a 2-score lead for Trinity as Carmel looks to get the ball back.
Yeah, there's no shocker. The Greyhounds defense, as soon as they see the ball get handed off to Barry, all focus goes to him. But you can't forget about Jeremiah Lynn showing off that speed, one of the few seniors on the Shamrocks offense, just really flying up the near sideline. All the focus was on Barry, left for an open field up the near sideline for Barry. He's able to get to the back of the end zone. And just like that, the Shamrocks go up 2 scores yet again.
So the struggle right now for Carmel defensively is getting those consecutive stops. We're seeing them get down to a 3rd down, even a 4th down, but they just can't put the nail in the coffin on these drives. And so Trinity's taking advantage of that. They have an explosive offense, and we've seen it all night. And so they're able to utilize all of these downs because they have confidence in their ability to get 10 yards. Carmel student section begins to fizzle out a little bit with just under 4 to play in the 3rd. Trinity leading 28-16.
The Carmel student section, they've always had a problem with leaving as the second half progresses. It's something that's really certainly surprised me because this game is certainly still within reach for the Greyhounds. Obviously, as you come with an offensive possession coming up, you'd think that the Carmel faithful would want to stick around and see what Coyer has for us, especially after going down. I know for a fact I'm curious to see what Coyer will look like after that little hobble off field.
So Shockley brings the kickoff a little past the 20-yard line. And we'll see Coyer, like you said, adjusting to that quick little injury. What I'm suspecting is just a calf cramp, but Bouncing back quickly is Anthony Colner, and hopefully he can muster up a solid drive here.
So yeah, Colner on the last drive, the calf cramp, he had to hobble off to the sideline, fell on his back, but he got a couple trainers over there to get him all stretched out. He comes back out to, finish this game up. They're going to have to really do a good job of protecting him because he is prone to injuries at this point. You do not want your starting quarterback to go down this early on in the season. We've already seen him get so banged up just through 4 weeks.
Kepler in the backfield. We have not seen a whole lot of Drew Pemberton so far in the second half. Colner airs it out, finds Shockley for a gain of about 9 yards.
Shockley, he's having himself an incredible game going into tonight. He had 7 catches for 46 yards. I'm sure he's about doubled his yardages in tonight's game alone, probably more than double that. And, in terms of catches, he's been one of Colner's favorite targets of the night.
Still haven't seen a whole lot of Liam Mann so far. Hoping to get him involved, but it's been a quiet night for him. First down and 10. They gave Shockley the first down on that reception. Williams in motion. Play clock under 10. Colner play action, finds Williams, and read perfectly by the Shamrock defense.
Real nice stop right there for the Shamrocks. The screen pass, one of Nate Williams' favorite plays. But the Shamrocks just get in there and blow it all up.
Sonny Gray, Bretcher Gray, in there for the quick stop, and that makes it a second down and 14.
Loss of 4 on the play. Second and 14 from the 29-yard line.
Sonny Gray plays Major League Baseball, but Sonny Bretcher Gray plays for the Shamrocks.
And he's had himself quite the game so far tonight.
Second and 14, Colner to pass. And it's picked off. There's nobody around him. And there's a turnover for the Hounds.
Yeah, pass intended for number 1, Nate Williams. It's picked off by Caleb Ricks, the senior safety for the Shamrocks. That is his 3rd interception of the season. He leads the team in total tackles and interceptions. That's the Notre Dame baseball commit. A heck of an athlete for the Irish, just showing off his athletic ability. But quite honestly, Colner's really throwing it to no man's land.
I'm not sure
to begin
you
with.
can say there's an intended receiver there. It was just right to Ricks. Total mindless play by Colner, and this is not where you want to be if you're Carmel. Giving Trinity excellent field position already across midfield as we get towards the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, and you know what? Caleb Ricks, 3 interceptions on the season, only through 4 weeks. Definitely not the type of player you really want to be throwing towards at all.
Handed off to Wilson, and a modest gain for him.
Real nice job by Jimmy Winbush right there, forcing him out of bounds at the top of your screen right there. Just shoves him out of bounds as he gets to just past the line of scrimmage. Jimmy Winbush didn't even have to make the tackle, just used his body to force Wilson out of bounds. The Greyhounds defense is really going to have to pick up for some of the Greyhounds offenses.
Yeah, Winbush, a guy we haven't said his name a whole lot so far tonight, but he's definitely been a difference maker so far throughout the year, so it's good to see him get involved. He's been up there in the past couple years, both in tackles and sacks. He is definitely a difference maker defensively, so hoping to see some more Jimmy Winbush. Second down and 8, 2:30 to play in the third. Johnson, quick pass. Finds his man on the sideline, reaching, trying to get the first down is Hagan. And they're saying he is just short.
So Hagan, his 4th completion of the season. A sophomore wide receiver, the sophomore to sophomore connection right there. Johnson to Hagan. Hagan really just dragging his man with him, trying to cross those sticks, just short. Sets up a huge opportunity for the Greyhounds defense right here. They need to come up big on this 3rd down stop.
Yeah, Hagan had the first reception of the game for Trinity, but since then has done nothing. So 3rd down and 2, pivotal moment here for Carmel, trying to get the stop. Johnson hands it off. Barry with it, and he's got just enough for the first down.
Jamarion Barry continues to make a name out of himself in week 4 against the Greyhounds, has certainly been the X factor for this Shamrocks offense. Picks up the first down on a huge 3rd down opportunity.
Going back to what we've been saying, Carmel's having issues getting consecutive stops. They can muster up that 3rd down, but once they get there, they fall flat because Trinity has guys like Barry and Floyd and Wilson and Hagan who are able to get those easy yards.
Yeah, and the Shamrocks, they have had no troubles with these 3rd down conversions. They know just who to go to every single time they have one, and they have done a great job 3rd down after 3rd down making those conversions.
Floyd with the carry. He gets a gain of about 7, but a penalty marker is down. We'll see what they do with this.
Floyd, he was brought down by Chase Jarrett up this near sideline right here. Not sure where that flag will be. Looks like a hold on the offense, so they're going to bring it back. That's huge for the Greyhounds. That was a pretty nice gain for Zach Floyd. He was able to rush it in for the Shamrocks' only touchdown against Center Grove. We haven't really heard his name as much tonight in that play. That'll be worth just about nothing due to the offensive hold.
Yeah, we've seen penalties play a big part in this game so far tonight. So hoping to see Carmel being able to use these penalty yards and attack on it against Trinity. When they get this second chance, it's a second and long, or make it first and long, first down and 18 for Trinity. It's way harder to get 3 straight completions when you have a longer field to play with. Clock continues to run, approaching 1 minute. Johnson by himself in the backfield. He'll scramble. He's got some room, trying to find a man, and his pass is well short. Looking for a flag is the Trinity sideline, but they won't get one.
Yeah, so the Shamrocks right there just really trying to open up the field on first and long. You see 2 receivers to Johnson's left, 2 to his right. He rolls out to the right side. The field was quite opened up, but really good pressure from the Greyhounds front right there, not really making Johnson comfortable as he rolls out to the right. Has to make the throw on the run, not able to get it to his intended receiver.
So the Hounds defense 1 for 1 on this second chance after the penalty. Second down and 18. 52 seconds left in the third. We've noticed Trinity taking a lot more of their time here in the second half, slowing down their play. Johnson with it. He's already moving. He finds a man. There's Barry with it. He makes one man miss. He's got plenty of room to run. Across the original line of scrimmage, past the first down meter, and he's in for a touchdown.
Touchdown.
Carmel does everything they can to let Barry score, and Trinity's cracking this game wide open.
I mean, Jamarian Barry, can you even bring that man down? He's only a sophomore for the Trinity Shamrocks, and that is his 3rd touchdown of the night. He bounces right off of Carter Grayson, a senior who is 6'1", 180 pounds, whereas Jamarian Barry, only a sophomore. Carter Grayson, he's one to lay down a big hit as well. He had a forced fumble in the first quarter of this game, but Jamarian Barry just really dribbled Carter Grayson into the dirt right there, broke a couple more tackles, and gets into the back of the end zone on second and long. He's making it look like he's playing on rookie mode out there.
Yeah, the attendance here at Carmel Stadium is dropping as we speak. This place has lost all hope. 35-16, not even the end of the third quarter, and everything's going Trinity so far in the second half.
Yeah, Trinity faithful has got to be real happy with the rest of the next the next 3 years between Zane Johnson, Jamarian Barry, Nation McBroom, all big name offensive key players for this Trinity Shamrocks team, and they're all sophomores. Zane Johnson, he's throwing for 2 touchdowns so far tonight. Or no, he's only throwing for 1 touchdown, but the play calling has been great. He's controlled this game in an amazing way. And Jamarian Barry, 3 rushing touchdowns. I mean, come on. It has been very tough for the Greyhounds to stop this elite, high-powered, young core Trinity offense.
Yeah, this Trinity fan base has traveled decently well for a 2-hour drive. We see them fill in maybe about a quarter of the away stands, and they're having a lot better night than we are. 39.7 seconds left in the third. Trinity's taking control of this game.
So Trinity, number 3 in Class 6A in Kentucky. They were number 1 after week 2. They took down the number 2 team in Kentucky, Frederick Douglass. They won 23-13. That bounced up to number 1. Then they fell back down to number 3 after losing to Center Grove last week. If they really continue to run away with this one here in Carmel, you'd have to expect them to bring those rankings right back up for Trinity. They were able to win the state championship last year of Kentucky State Championship, led by freshman quarterback Zane Johnson and obviously freshman running back Jamarian Barry. This team, this offense is just high-powered, so fast. They're able to just really make some of the older guys out there look like child's play.
Yeah, and on the other side of the ball, assuming that this game does not end in favor for Carmel, they're going to end up tonight sitting at 500, where they ended the season last year. But the good news is the next 2 weeks, you got Brebeuf at home for homecoming, and then you're going to North Central on the road. Both of those games should be very favorable for Carmel if they're trying to get back into the win column after this week.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine, and that's honestly why I look back at week 2 of the season. The Greyhounds taking on the Westfield Shamrocks. That game was split up into 2 days due to a weather delay. It was certainly looking like after Friday night, when the weather delay hit in the second quarter, that the Greyhounds were going to run away with the win. I believe they were up 10-0, maybe even 13-0.
It was 10-0 after Friday, and then Saturday, Westfield outscored Carmel 17-3.
Yeah, that's right. So it's 17-13 final score.
Yeah.
It was looking like on a Friday, if that game played through the entire day, the Greyhounds would have likely been going into this game 3-0. Even if you drop this game, you're 3-1, heading into 2 games that, like you said, it's favorable to the Greyhounds. They would have been in a nice, much better position. Whereas now, after tonight, if you're not able to scrap back, you're 2-2. And you have to take care against these teams. And even if you do, you're only 4-2, which is, it's a good record, but no 5-1.
Well, and like you said, they'd end up 3-1 if that Westfield game went as many fans here thought it should. But that's not just 3-1. That's 3-1 with a win against Westfield and your only loss coming from the number 3 team in Kentucky.
Exactly. So the Greyhounds, just an unfortunate circumstances to start off the season. Luckily, they do have that homecoming game to get them back on their feet next week against Brebeuf. Brebeuf, not even a 6A team.
They're a good 4A school, I'll tell you what. But
they schedule a handful of 6A teams. I believe they played one a couple weeks ago. They did a pretty nice job against them. They actually beat a 6A team earlier this year. Now, I'm not so sure that'll be a worry for the Greyhounds. Don't want to jinx that, however. Anything could happen. A key to that game is just really going to be let Coyer get in his groove, keep him healthy the entire game, because he should be able to take care against the Brebeuf defense.
Yeah, if you're Carmel going into that game against Brebeuf, you have a lot of confidence against that Warrior squad or Brave squad, but for the most part, Brebeuf is one of those schools that they're only 4A because of their size. They play good football, and they're a consistently good team in their division, but coming up and playing against a 6A school might be a tall task for them. So the clock flips over to the fourth quarter. First down and 10 for Carmel. Coyer flips it over, and there's Pendleton for the first time that we've seen him for a while.
Yeah, pretty much this entire second half. Pemberton right up the middle. A little shovel pass right there from Coyer. Pemberton, a real nice option for this Greyhounds offense. In my opinion, one of the 2 best between him and Nate Williams. I was talking to Coach Hahn a little bit about how he feels with Pemberton in the backfield for the Greyhounds for the first time. Obviously, he transferred from Lawrence Central after last year, and Coach Hahn had some clear express of how nice it is to have a shifty running back like Pemberton in the backfield.
Coyer finds Shockley for a big gain. That'll move the chains across midfield. Like we were saying, we saw a lot of Craig Kepler in the third quarter, and that was not the production that the Carmel was looking for. It definitely not Drew Pemberton
production.
At all. Right, yeah. We went into this game expecting Pemberton to do what he did last week, and they just haven't been giving him the ball that much.
Yeah, last week he had 100 yards versus Centerville and 2 touchdowns that were both 40-yard touchdowns. On the season, he has 230 rushing yards. The rest of the team has 161. That was heading into tonight. Pemberton has only surpassed the rest of the Carmel running backs here tonight. There he is again.
Yeah, another shovel pass to Pemberton. He gets a solid gain. Carmel chipping away against this field, but they might not have enough clock to climb all the way back.
So the Greyhounds are actually going to pull Pemberton again after he gets 2 nice shovel passes from Coyer. They have Kepler back in the backfield. The Greyhounds putting together a nice little drive right here, however. 2nd and 6 from the 28-yard line. Certainly in scoring position. This is definitely Obermeyer's field goal range.
Yeah, 3 scores is still what you need if you're Carmel to get back into this game. So it's a tall task, but they seem to be putting together a pretty solid drive so far. Coyer to pass. Pressure comes. Flag should come in. I saw a holding, but I guess referees did not. Pass gets to Bell, and he's across the line to gain for a first down.
So Coyer, a real nice pass right there, rolling out to his right, has to throw it across his body to his left. Really led Bell in, nonetheless. So real nice play right there from Anthony Coyer, showing some promise here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you hate to see when this brand of football comes out when you're down 35-16, but an excellent drive so far for Carmel, hoping to see if they can cash it in for some points here late in this game. Kepler still in the backfield.
First and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Coyer to pass. Plenty of time, finding the end zone. There's Nate Williams. He's in there for a quick score.
Nate Williams up the middle at his corner's #1 target. He leads the team in touchdowns with 3, gets his 4th of the season. Nate Williams has been corner's favorite target all season. There he is again. He had 1 touchdown last week against Centerville. He had a couple against Westfield. And he had 1 against Westfield, but coming up big here again. Nate Williams has had an incredible senior season with the Greyhounds. He transferred from Lake Forest, Illinois. He played here his freshman year, and the Greyhounds, they've got to feel blessed to have him back in a Carmel jersey because he is a great option for this Carmel offense.
Yeah, so at this point, with the score being 35-23 in favor of Trinity, Carmel needs to be perfect. You have 10 minutes left to play. Another Trinity score puts this game way out of reach. We already thought it was, but that quick, efficient drive by Carmel kind of brings them back a little bit, flirting with the possibility of a comeback, but you need perfection the rest of the night for the Hounds.
Get your game plan right. I mean, Coach Specchio, the Carmel defensive coordinator, he better be on that sideline saying, watch Barry, watch Jeremiah Lynn. Those guys have been tearing it up against the Carmel defense all night. Someone needs to go in there and really just hit one of them, give them a real hard hit, kind of knock them off their rocker a little bit. And the Greyhounds, we saw them. It was in the second quarter, I believe. The Shamrocks were able to force one of those onside kicks. They were able to return it, and the Greyhounds defense came out with a sense of urgency that they're going to have to come out here with the rest of the game. They're going to have to play with a real nice sense of urgency, and this game could potentially be within reach for the Greyhounds.
What's the issue when it comes to trying to put a big hit on some of these guys from Trinity is that we've seen it's hard to knock guys like Floyd and Barry around. You need a couple guys just to bring them down. It's going to be a tall task just to try to rattle them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Jamarion Barry on his last touchdown, his 3rd of the game. I mean, 3 touchdowns, a hat trick for him. On his last touchdown, though, he broke 3 or 4 tackles up that far sideline to reel in like a 28-yard touchdown. So he's a real tough player to bring down. But the Greyhounds, you have to lock in on him.
Yeah, he plays grown man football out here, and the Hounds are just trying to keep up.
It's going to be real interesting to see where his landing spot ends up being. Only a sophomore, but he's done a whole bunch of camps at SEC schools. I was checking out his Twitter, and he seems to really be big on Kentucky. He has multiple tweets up about camps and visits he's done at Kentucky. So where he ends up going, will it be a big SEC school? It'll be real interesting to follow that young sophomore running back in Jamarion Barry.
So the kickoff by Lucas Christian Murphy is short, and so it's brought out by Trinity near midfield, and this is already, we talked about perfection. Carmel was not perfect on that kickoff.
So out comes the Trinity Shamrocks offense led by Zane Johnson. He's having himself quite the nice game here tonight.
Yeah, this Trinity offense has so much trust in their young quarterback in Zane Johnson. He's having himself, like you said, a fantastic night, but this is honestly just business as usual for him. He's been doing this since he was a 14-year-old freshman, and we know he's going to keep doing this for Trinity for the next 3 years. First play is a handoff, brought down quickly by Carmel.
I mean, you're legit when your backup quarterback as a sophomore is the senior.
Right.
I mean, poor Brian Schumacher just got to be real upset. Probably thought he had a starting spot coming up, and then young freshman Zane Johnson comes in, and reasonably so. He lights it up against some of these impressive defenses. Carmel certainly has an impressive defense, but Zane Johnson, he's really able to just kind of tear it apart, make it look a little bit easy out there for how young he is.
Yeah, Trinity putting up 35 points already against the Carmel defense that's only allowed 16.6 points per game. Clock ticking, around 9 minutes to go. Johnson hands it off. There's Floyd with it. He's brought down well short of the line to game. So 3rd down and medium for Trinity, and this could be a major drive for Carmel.
Hey, you need to come up big on this 3rd down. You cannot allow another 3rd down conversion for the Shamrocks. Not to mention Floyd forced out of bounds right there, stops the clock. The Greyhounds need to work with the clock as much as they can if they want to fight back into this one. It's going to start right here on this play. Have to make this 3rd down stop.
Yeah, getting 3 straight stops has been the issue for Carmel's defense so far. 3rd and 5. Johnson one back behind him. Gives it to him. And he's got the first down and a whole lot more. Barry with the first down. He's brought down past the 40-yard line. And Carmel cannot get 3 straight stops.
Yet again, it takes 2 defenders to bring down Jamarion Barry. That time it was Derek Fedorcha and Drew Cannon, but he broke yet again at least 2 or 3 tackles up that near side hashes. Just makes it look easy out there. This Jamarion Barry kid just dissecting the Greyhounds defense.
So Trinity across midfield now. Clock continues to tick. And this might be all but over for Carmel. Snap is wide, but not an issue. Barry tries to get a couple yards, but brought down quickly by the Hounds.
So Jamarion Barry not able to make much out of that one. 2nd and 9 from the 38 for the
Isaac Nelson making the stop on the previous play. 2nd and 9, like you said. And, you know, they're still a little bit out of field goal range, but this might even be 4th down territory if you're Trinity. You're kind of in that no man's land where it's not quite the length for your kicker's leg, but it's also not ideal to punt right now.
From about here on their last 4th down attempt, it was 4th and 4, and they had a deep ball down to Jeremiah Lynn. They were able to score off of it. So, you know, I think their offense is confident enough to go for it on about anything.
Johnson passing. He finds Warner for a few easy yards. Caleb Warner short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd down and medium. And another chance for the Hounds to get the ball back in their hands.
So another sophomore making a name for himself in Caleb Warner. Coming up big in the 4th quarter for the Shamrocks.
He had a drop earlier in the game, so good to see him redeeming himself. Johnson with the snap. He's moving right. Got a man wide open. McBroom gets the reception, and he's got a 1st down.
So this Shamrocks offense moving the chains at will. McBroom gets to the sticks, really untouched until he gets just clear of that 1st down mark, then forced out of bounds. So the Trinity Shamrocks starting to find themselves working their way into scoring position, having a real nice night offensively. They average 20.3 points per game. They're at 35 and counting right now. Just great job from the Shamrocks finding their way on offense, making every opportunity count.
You know, it's really interesting. We've seen a rush-heavy offense from Trinity so far tonight, but they're making the adjustment, and they're trying to pass the ball more right now, which is definitely keeping the Hounds on their toes, trying to make those defensive adjustments when they're expecting back-to-back carries by Barry, and then all of a sudden you got 3 straight pass plays. That's surprising. Trying to spot the ball here after that play. Should be 2nd down and 10. Trinity will line up at the Hounds' 29-yard line. Handoff once again, and Floyd's brought down with no gain. So Zach Floyd gets nothing out of there. He was labeled as running back 1 going into tonight, but he's had a quiet evening. We've seen Barry really being that first option so far. 3rd down and 11. And you think we might be a little closer into field goal range if Carmel can get the stop, but to be quite frank, I don't have a whole lot of faith in this 3rd down defense.
Neither do I. The Trinity Shamrocks have been lighting it up in terms of 3rd down conversions. Now, if they do have to send out the senior kicker, Carson Hilbert, he's 2 of 3 for field goals this year. I was watching him warm up. He has a real nice leg, so he could quite possibly be in his range.
3rd and 12. Whistles come in, flags fly. And we'll see what they saw.
You know, obviously one of these teams had to have jumped. It looked like Khalil Hardester got to the quarterback immediately. I thought it could have been a jump on him, but the ref signal on the offense right there, a false start.
Yeah, blowing the play dead quickly kind of signals that false start, but you never know. And so some negative penalty yards for Trinity puts the Hounds in a much better situation. Still 3rd down. Clock continues to fly away from the Hounds. 5:46 to play. it's one of those games where you might say we didn't lose, we just ran out of time. If Carmel can continue to fight, that's great, but the clock might be their real opponent right now. Timeout called by the Hounds.
So the Greyhounds, they just want to discuss this one over. 3rd and 16. The Shamrocks have absolutely killed it on 3rd down conversions. Now, we haven't quite seen anything like a 3rd and 16, but if I got to be honest with you, this Shamrocks offense has been so elite. I'm a little worried. I'm glad that the Greyhounds had to call a timeout right there because I do think they need to talk this one over. Coming up big for the Greyhounds in terms of defense, a few players that have had a big game tonight. Chase Jared making his first start due to John Luke Getchell's injury against Centerville. He will be done for the season. So Jared, he's had himself a nice game. Drew Cannon's had a couple real nice tackles. Carter Grayson had a forced fumble. But for the most part, that was all first half stuff for the Greyhounds, and they were still in this one. Second half, it's all been Trinity offense.
Yeah, Trinity's really, taken over the story for the second half. 3rd down and 16. They've really shown their ability to air the ball out when you get a 3rd down and long. Carmel's defense knows it's coming, but so far they have not been prepared to handle it. Officials getting set. 5:46 left in this ball game. Johnson to pass, trying to look quickly. He's going deep. Off the fingers of his receiver at the 5-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th down and 16.
4th down.
Over the outstretched hands of Jeremiah Lynn. He was able to get one hand on that. However, it was, he turned the wrong way, turned over his right shoulder, should have turned over his left. If he was able to come down with that one, I would have marked my Trinity Shamrock state champs back-to-back right then and there because their offenses looked amazing. If he was able to come down with that 3rd down conversion, that would have really been something.
Yeah, the game plan on those 3rd and long so far from Trinity hasn't just been get the necessary yards, but they're trying to get all the yards. They've been going deep towards the end zone in most of these situations. They're going to try to kick a field goal here. This one has some distance on 4th down and 16.
So kicking this one for the Shamrocks.
So it's Hilbert now. Snap, kick, it's up. Does it have the length? It's short. So Carmel catches a break there. 5:35 to play with, down by 12 points. So that's, I think, plenty of time if you can rattle off a quick score.
Carson Hilbert trying it from way downtown. That one would have been good for 52 yards. I was watching him warm up. I saw him drill a couple 50-yarders, but in game, you put those pads on, it gets a whole lot different. Now, after that missed field goal, that brings him down to 2 and 4 from field goals on the entire season. But he's a real accurate kicker. I'm sure that first miss in the season earlier, it was probably another real long attempt, just like that one.
That play is ultimately a win-win for Trinity. Even with the miss, they're still pinning Carmel decently deep in their own territory at their own 20, and we've seen that's been a weakness for Carmel, not just this season, but in many seasons of Carmel football, that when they're playing with a full field, that's when they're unable to score. The short field is where Carmel strives the best, and so far they've been lacking in those turnovers necessary.
So Pemberton in the backfield, you got to hope that the Greyhounds continue to go to him.
1st and 10, throwing to Pemberton. Almost looked like he wasn't ready, but he hauls it in for a gain of a few.
That kid has really done a great job settling in for the Carmel Greyhounds. His first year as a Hound, only a junior. He's been one of the most reliable options for the Greyhounds offense.
Yeah, you'd like to see him stay in there the rest of the game. All respect due to Craig Kepler, but just not has been his night.
No, certainly not. And overall, I think Drew Pemberton has had a much better season up to this point. Drew Pemberton, he's up to 3 touchdowns on the entire season. He had 2 touchdowns just last game.
Colner airs it out, finds Bellin for a big gain. Bellin's been that guy all night, making the tough plays when necessary, and he hauls it in for a 1st down.
Bellin had a really tough first half, but this second half, he has made a handful of real tough plays. The first drive of the second half when the Greyhounds were still working their way back into this, when they were able to get a field goal, largely thanks to 2 huge Jake Bellin completions. Now as the game starts to slip away, not that it means as much, but to see that Colner to Bellin connection still so strong, obviously that's good for the Greyhound faithful.
Pressure coming to Colner, he'll scramble. Moving on his right side, crosses the line of scrimmage, and he's hit hard.
I mean, what is he doing? You know, he has to protect his legs. He's injury prone at this point. You are in a situation where you are trailing by 12. You know, you run that ball. Now you still have a running clock as the clock continues to wind down. Just bad clock management and bad pocket awareness from Coler right there. He needs to do a better job of protecting his own body.
Yeah, last year in his sophomore season, we explained the whole year as being sort of a maturing season for Coler, as he looks to air it out now and cannot connect with Dom Schottky. But last year was supposed to be the year that Coler made the jump. He was supposed to get comfortable in his role at quarterback, but frankly, we have not seen him make the step up so far, playing immature football, not protecting himself, not finding the right guys. 4 minutes to play, and he's limping a little bit as he makes his way towards under center.
Yeah, you know, Coler really struggling to make the jumps that we were really expecting him to. He has 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions on the season. I got to tell you, his offensive production has been a lot better this season, but the interceptions are still there. 4 interceptions through only 4 weeks.
And so a false start on the Hounds does no good for this effort.
False start against the offense. 5-yard penalty.
And those small penalties keep adding up against the Hounds. Once you feel like they got some momentum going in their favor, a ticky-tack little penalty puts them back. So 3rd and 10. Obviously expect the Hounds to air it out here. Approaching midfield. Coler, pressure comes. Do not run, Anthony. And he's dragged down and hit while he does so. Not a pretty sight for the Carmel quarterback.
I mean, dragged down, twisted all sorts of ways by 3.
Helmet comes off too.
3 Trinity defenders. Helmet comes off, so the ref's going to talk to him. He has to come off the field. Wants to go out there for a 4th and 8. They obviously are forced to go for it on this way. So Treadway, he's going to get his opportunity, the sophomore quarterback. But Coler, he was literally like turned upside down, forced in that position by 3 different Trinity defenders. He is really struggling to just stay in that pocket, just set his feet and not rely on scrambling out of the pocket and getting.
Pass is incomplete.
We don't have audio, that's what I'm trying to fix.
12 Jackson Treadway with the incomplete pass. Trinity will take over 1st and 10.
Okay, you should have audio back. In a second.
He just has to be better in terms of, you know, his playmaking, his decision making.
Yeah, this Carmel coaching staff knew they had a lot of options for this backup quarterback going into the year. So when they landed on Treadway, they knew that he had what it takes to be that second option. But when he's called upon in a bit of a surprise in a 4th down and 8, that is not his ideal situation. First play by the Shamrocks is no gain.
Zane Johnson really struggling to get that snap off in the gun. You know, kind of fell on his butt right there. So if anything, the Greyhounds get a little bit of comic relief as the Shamrocks look to walk away with this one.
It's not a butt fumble, but it's a butt loss of 1.
Yeah,
so.
butt loss of 1 right there from Zane Johnson. Honestly, a good job of him. Had to really jump up to get that snap.
And, you know, we talked about what this loss means for the Hounds. And, you know, to a lot of other teams, when you have an interstate team coming in, the game doesn't mean as much to you because you acknowledge that it's not conference. You're not going to play this team in the playoffs. But when it comes to Carmel and Trinity, these 2 teams do not like each other. You know, I talked to Kay Clark earlier this week, and he said the bottom line is win or lose, we don't live in Kentucky. And, you know, that kind of just echoes to the way that this rivalry runs. It's not just school versus school. This is state versus state. And so Carmel failing to show up tonight really is a bruise on this season.
Yeah, you know, these 2 teams do not at all like each other. And last season, the Shamrocks just smacking up the Greyhounds. They walked away with a 41-14 victory in Kentucky. But the year before that, the Greyhounds, they were really able to take care of it. They were really able to take care of it against Trinity, largely led by Desmond Duffy, and a whole lot of disrespect. He got called for a taunting call. There's a lot of history between these two teams. They do not like each other for an out-of-state rivalry. So, dropping this one, especially at home, it's one thing to go into Kentucky and drop one on the road, but doing it in front of your home crowd, that hurts, especially as it bumps you back to that 500 mark at 2-2. Not a mark as a Carmel, as a team as historical as Carmel that you want to be at.
Yeah, and that's why Trinity plays Carmel, is because I always use the comparison that Carmel football is IU basketball, where teams, no matter how good or bad the team is performing that year, teams want to play them because of the prestige. And so when Carmel and Trinity meet up, the expectation is that the teams are on the same level. But tonight and possibly the rest of the season, Carmel just isn't on that level as the 28-time Kentucky State champions. Clock sits at 2:17 as Carmel takes another timeout.
So Trinity leads 35-23 here as the clock dwindles down. 2 minutes and 17 left to go. The Greyhounds are going to have a lot to think about this upcoming week. The schedule certainly opens up a little bit, but towards the end of the season, it gets just as equally tough. They'll eventually have to face off against Ben Davis, the former state champs. Now, how good they are this year compared to where they were last year, still a big question mark as we're early on in the season, but they also face Warren later on in the season. It'll be a tough back half of the season, but upcoming they have Rebuff and North Central should certainly play in favor of the Greyhounds, but they really need to get some things together. Last season, the Greyhounds finished up at 500. They lost in their sectional round to the Shamrocks, the Westfield Shamrocks.
Not these Shamrocks.
Not these Shamrocks, the Westfield Shamrocks. This year, I think the expectation for everyone, for all the Carmel fans, for all the Carmel players, for all the Carmel coaches, as Anthony Kohler got a little bit more experience, Jake Bellin, pretty much the entire team. We didn't lose too many costly seniors. Obviously, Christian Peterson, Artie Bryant, a couple key offensive players, but for the most part, the bulk of the Carmel team came back. So I think the expectation is to improve on last year.
Especially after week one when Homestead comes into town and Carmel, frankly, takes care of business in a near blowout fashion. And so after that first week, we were telling each other, we're back. Carmel football appeared to be back, but this is definitely a humbling night. But like you mentioned with Ben Davis, is that no matter how good or bad they play, they're a little bit disappointing compared to what the expectation was, but that's still a game that is scheduled on Carmel's calendar. Well, they know that is a big game for them to come out, and that's, I don't want to say a must-win, but it's almost a must-win for the rest of the season, where you get those two games against Rebuff and against North Central, but then after that, you have to lock in. You have to prove why you deserve to win state this year.
Yeah, improvement is the general idea for this 2024 season, improving upon their 2023 season, and heading into week 5 at 500, that's not exactly where they wanted to be.
Right, and especially with we've been talking about the prestige of Carmel football, where the comparison has been that last year was a 500 season, but 500 football for Carmel is a losing season. And so the expectation isn't that you take 3 years to rebuild as Carmel, it's that you take that one average year and you turn it back into winning football. And so far they haven't quite proven to be able to do that. Again, still plenty of season left, but right now, lots of question marks in the sustainability of this Carmel team.
And the main positive to me is Carmel is certainly still somewhat, they have fought with Trinity up until the very end, under 2 minutes to go. I'm sure the Greyhounds are still really trying to give a little puncher's chance at this one, and this is against one of the best teams in the state of Kentucky. They won the state championship in Kentucky last year, and their week 2 loss coming up against the best team in the state of Indiana in Westfield. So that is the upside of that, playing against your only 2 losses being against some incredible football programs.
Right, and this goes back to talking about the rivalry between these two teams, where in most other situations, when you're down by 12 with 90 seconds left, your starters are not on the field. You're pulling them, you're giving them the rest, but Carmel really is trusting their starters even as they bring up 4th down and 15. The goal here is to not give up and not give Trinity even the mental wins despite the scoreboard.
No, that was a poor set of downs, just a really poor possession from the Greyhounds right there. Only lost 5 yards on the entire possession. Kohler showing some visible frustration. So at this point, it may not be a mental victory for the Shamrocks yet, until they might get some offense going here, but it does look like a little bit of mental defeat for the Greyhounds. They're going to have to really fix that up heading into week 5.
Carmel set to punt it away with 1:25 to play. The punt returner sitting right around the 50-yard line for the Shamrocks. They'll call fair catch.
Fair catch.
Probably a good idea to fair catch that one right in front of him.
So we turn the calendar to homecoming next week. Carmel welcomes in Brebeuf, but taking a look at what Brebeuf is doing right now, they're playing an away game against Guerin, and they're leading 69-55. And that is an offensive explosion that if you're Carmel, you're not exactly excited to welcome in.
No, not at all. That Brebeuf offense is honestly quite a good offense that they have going there for a 4A school, led by Cody Maverick. Quite honestly, one of the best quarterbacks in the state. And the Greyhounds defense, they've had their fair share of struggles. They gave up 35 here tonight. And for the most part, it's really been one of the bigger question marks in terms of the secondary. I could so see Cody Maverick coming in here and just kind of lighting up the Greyhound secondary. I can also see the game being just a shootout, because I don't imagine that our offense will have any struggles whatsoever against the Brebeuf defense.
I talked to Eugenio Ojada before the season, just previewing the schedule and seeing how Carmel ranked up as Trinity lines up in victory formation. And we talked about Brebeuf, and Eugenio honestly had a lot of confidence against this Braves team. But, I remind him, as my own analytical mind, that Brebeuf's a good squad, that the 4A label should not be something to laugh at or something to take not seriously, because I think that they're going to come in here, they're going to make it a show. Even if it is Carmel's homecoming, the Braves should hold their own here next week.
Yeah, I think so too. That is going to be the talk going forward. Obviously, the Greyhounds are going to need it to take care. It's the homecoming game, probably one of their best chances to, get a blowout win in homecoming, which we really haven't seen.
And especially after this week, is that you need to bounce back. And that's typically what your homecoming is designed for, is that you pick an opponent that you believe can be that statement win as you are about at that halfway point in your season.
Yeah, contain Cody Maverick, get the defense going in that game. And overall, just, let Anthony Colner get in his group, keep handing it off to Drew Pemberton, Nate Williams. You got to imagine that he'll have himself a good game. The Greyhounds have the weapons that they need. They just need to put it all together going forth this season.
Yeah, biggest disappointment so far tonight was the offensive line. I really was not pleased with the performance by the line. Colner was not given the time that he needed in the pocket, and frankly, the running backs were not given the space that they needed.
Yeah, the offensive line did not come up as big as they should. We should have one of the strongest offensive lines in the state, but the Trinity Shamrocks, their whole entire front was constantly pressuring Colner, making him make some stupid decisions that just make Colner uncomfortable the entire night. So the offensive line moving forward, they're going to have to do a much better job protecting their quarterback.
We'll see you right back here next week for homecoming when Carmel takes on Brebeuf. I've been Boudouris with Josh Melby. Have a great night.
Next Friday evening here at Carmel Stadium, as they'll welcome in the Brebeuf Jesuit Braves. Kickoff scheduled for 7 p.m.
Thank you for watching our live stream tonight. The Carmel Greyhounds fell short tonight against the Trinity Shamrocks, losing 23-35. The Greyhounds came out after the start of the second half. They showed a little progression, trying to score to 5. But ultimately tonight, they fell short by losing by only 12 points.
Yeah, honestly not the result that Carmel wanted, but there's a lot to look forward to. It wasn't the worst game ever. Carmel put up 23 points, which is solid. Jake Bellin, 110 receiving yards. That is an outstanding game for him. This brings Carmel to 2-2, 500 record. One of their losses is to Westfield Shamrocks, who is the #1 team in Indiana. Their other loss tonight is to the Trinity Shamrocks, who's the #1 team in Kentucky. So both two very tough matchups, and the future is bright though.
Yes, for sure. The Carmel Greyhounds really showed a dominant performance tonight, and I'm really looking forward to what they have in store for next week at our homecoming game against Brebeuf. So we'll be right back here next week against Brebeuf Braves for our homecoming game. Thank you for watching. I've been Andrew Huitsing.
Brendan Melby.